welcome back, Elaine. See the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go course live session. So let's dive straight into today's teaching. There's a daily quote. Share my screen with you. And then I think, well, let's have a look at the development of trust, because it's in here. Today's message, so very pertinent. Not that one, we want that one. Okay. So if you can read the headline quote, kindly.
In the process of letting go, you will lose many things from the past, but you will find yourself.
Deepak Chopra. And this quite accurately describes what the path of letting go can feel like. That you're losing things you value based on your past experiences, but reminds you that following it diligently will help you to find your true self. It only seems that you're being asked to give up something of value, but as Yeshu explains in section 4.1a of the Manual for Teachers, which is called the Development of Trust. If you can read that.
He can learn this only as he actually does give up the valueless. Through this, he learns that where he anticipated grief, he finds a happy lightheartedness instead. Where he thought something was asked of him, he finds a gift bestowed on him.
Okay, so read that again in the first person, because it's meant for you. I can learn this only.
I can learn this only as I actually give up the valueless. Through this, I learn that where I anticipated grief, I find a happy lightheartedness instead. Where I thought something was asked of me, I find a gift bestowed on me.
So it makes it very, very personal. So the process of giving up the valueless can be experienced as painful, as he says. So perhaps just read the first 3 or 4 stages of the development of trust, which is really, this is the path. He's laying out the path to enlightenment in this development of trust section, saying these are the stages in this unfolding path of awakening. He calls it the development of trust because that's the critical thing. If you can trust spirit always and never doubt, then you are enlightened. You cannot be fooled by the ego's story. But a lack of trust indicates that you still have a split mind and that you're still trusting in 2 forces or powers to help you. You might conceptually, go, well, it's all about spirit, and I accept that. But then the lack of trust is still a deep-seated belief that the ego can somehow help you. So you must choose. All right, so if you can read number 1, initially I must undergo what seems to be like a period of undoing.
Initially, I must undergo what seems like a period of undoing. This need not be painful, but it often feels that way. It appears that things are being taken from me, and I seldom understand at first what I am merely recognizing their lack of value.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going here. How can I perceive lack of value unless I perceive things from a different perspective? I am not yet at a point where I can make the shift entirely internally. So the plan sometimes calls for changes in what seem to be external circumstances. These changes are always beneficial. Once I have learnt this much, I will move on to the second stage.
Yeah, so what's he saying in this one in summary?
Well, while we're going through this, undergoing this period of undoing, it need not be painful, but it often feels painful because it feels as though things are getting taken away from us. But we just don't understand at first. It merely recognizes the lack of value that we've put on these things. So at this point, me personally, I'm not at the point where I can shift entirely. So the plan will be, plan sometimes calls for changes, what seem to be external circumstances. Yeah, so like my situation with Dave's diagnosis, my hand problem, but these changes are always beneficial. And so once I've learned this,
doesn't seem like it at the time, does it?
No,
that
no.
we have
No.
to these teachings are there to remind us. Okay, so when it doesn't seem like it, how can all these negative things be beneficial? Well, they're showing you your shadow. They're showing you your ego, revealing it to you so that you can let it go. That's why they're beneficial. So these changes are always helpful.
It's difficult to let go, though, say if you're in pain. You know, that's more difficult because it's always reminding you. But I know what you're saying, feel into the sensation and go past it. I know what you mean, yeah.
The thing is not pain, it's behind it. So if you look at the physical pain, you can get into the level of the mental and emotional pain, and you can actually undo the pain there.
Yeah.
And so even pain, even chronic pain, is helpful because it's helping you to release your mind's attachment to the ego. That's what it all comes down to. If the ego is causing you to suffer so much, why would you be attached to it? Why would you want it?
Well, it's true.
So physical pain, any kind of pain, mental and emotional pain, is a reminder, well, why are you choosing this insane thought system? Why are you choosing still to be a separate self when it causes you this much pain? Just let it go and be free of this. So these changes are always helpful. The taking away of illusions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that. But of course, it's duality, isn't it? It has the good stuff as well, you know, maybe a nice holiday or whatever it is that people like. So that's that's the difficult one. It's, you know, giving up the good stuff.
Yeah, but is it worth it? You've got to look at it overall and say, well, you know, does the good stuff, so-called good stuff, make it all worth it? Is it worth the pain of life to experience this good stuff that is very temporary, if you're honest? You know, the good stuff doesn't last. You can have some nice experiences, but they don't last. They come and they go. And in the end, you're in a construct of time, which implies aging, sickness, death. That's inevitable for all of us. So is the good stuff, so-called quote good stuff that the ego offers, is that actually of any value?
In the long run,
or is it just an illusion? It's just designed to suck you in to the game, and so that you can stay in the construct of a separate self and continue to suffer. So he's asking us to be very honest, more honest than we've ever been in our lives, and say, is it really worth it? Is the human experience really worth, whatever the good stuff is that you might experience? Is it worth the pain and the suffering?
Mm.
And he's
Wow.
asking us to look very honestly at that equation and come to the same conclusion as he came to and every spiritual master's come to. No, it's not worth it. Right? This is a very dualistic, double-edged reality where, pleasure and pain seem to counterbalance, and it seems like pain often has the upper hand, doesn't it?
Mm. Yes, yeah.
Pain
Certainly as you
seems
get
to be more
older.
prevalent
Yeah,
than pleasure.
yeah. As
You
you get
get
older.
moments of pleasure, but the pleasure is followed by pain. The more attached you are to, say, physical pleasure, the more likely it is that you're going to suffer physical pain because you're in the same domain, you're in the same level.
Mm.
Pleasure turns to pain. Just to ask any addict, oh no, it's great when I, get my fix and I'm high, wonderful pleasure, but then, it turns to pain very quickly because I come off the high and then I want my fix again, and then I'm craving, and then I'm, desperate, then I'm really unhappy until I get my next fix, whatever that may be. It could be alcohol, drugs, can be substance, any substance, food. It can be activity like sex. It can be shopping, gambling.
And yeah, just.
So is it worth it? And every addict has to see, no, it's not worth it. To give up the addiction, they have to see that they're being played for a fool by the ego, that this is not worth it, and they're suffering. This addiction is causing them suffering. So, we're not talking about specific things. There might be some of those things, but I don't think you're addicted to anything other than this world.
Yeah,
In
and
general,
sort of
you're
control
addicted to being human, to the
and being
human
in
experience.
control. Yeah, being in control. I do tend to have that
So
problem. Yes.
is it worth it?
No, not.
Okay, so you see, this is helpful because you're having to look at this and going, really, this is an opportunity to understand their lack of value, to understand the lack of value of all the things that I seem to value in this world. If I can understand that, that's hugely helpful. As he says, these changes are always beneficial. They are always helpful, irrespective of what that change looks like. Once I've learned this much, I'll move on to the second stage. That might require a lot of taking away. A lot of things have to seemingly be taken away or go wrong in order for you to learn the lesson that it's always helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
Depending on how stubbornly attached you are to your ego and its identification with form, it might take a lot of that.
Yeah, because
Undo
obviously,
it.
yeah, because you've been brought up with, you go to save and you do this, get married, have 2.2 children, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay,
And that's what we're
told.
told is what life is about. This is
Yeah.
what makes life worthwhile. But it's all very temporary. And he's saying, remember the only definition of what's valuable is saying if it's eternal and it will last, then it is valuable. And if it is temporary and it won't last, then it is by definition has no value because it won't last. That's the definition of value versus the valueless. Okay, so if things in life don't last, then they have no value. This is the teaching. This is what you being invited to learn.
You're sort of setting yourself up because everything is temporary. And so the love I have for my animals or your husband or whoever it is, you're setting yourself up for a real crash when they're gone.
Exactly. Because they were never truly valuable. They were illusions, but they seem to last a while. So then the ego sucks you in and goes, oh, well, now you can believe in these and you can find happiness and peace and satisfaction from these because it wants you to believe in them. And then, of course, the more attached you get to them, the more it's a setup because they will go. They will not last forever. Nothing here lasts forever. And then, if you're really attached to them, then you suffer accordingly, which is then, of course, what the ego wants. Oh, well, now you're going to suffer greatly because in the suffering, the ego gets energized, the ego gets strengthened, which is what it wants.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. Well, it's fine when things are running smoothly, but inevitably,
Yeah, but you see, to get out of that, things go wrong, apparently wrong. If it all just ran smoothly forever, what would you would never awaken, would you? You just, oh well, it's just all blissful and happy in the dream. Then that this dream would be reality. It was always blissful and happy. It would be reality. There'd be no need to try and leave, would there? Because like, well, it's a very happy state and world to be in. The fact that it inevitably changes and things do go wrong is very helpful, because it's teaching you not to value an illusion, to value only the truth. And then once you've learned this, then you can move on to the second stage. Okay, so I get this.
Yeah.
So what's the second stage? Next, the teacher of...
I'll read that one. I must then experience a period of sorting out. This is somewhat challenging because, having learned that changes in my life are helpful, I must now judge everything based on whether it increases or hinders this helpfulness. I will discover that my many things I previously valued now obstruct my ability to apply what I've learned to new situations. Because I have valued the worthless, I am hesitant to generalize the lesson for fear of loss and sacrifice. It takes deep learning to understand that all things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful. It is only their helpfulness that gives them any degree of reality in the illusory world. The word value cannot apply to anything else. So, yeah, I can relate to that.
What's he saying there?
Well, then after that, the first level stage is a period of sorting out, and this is what's challenging. And these changes in the life are helpful, so we haven't to judge them, which I'm I'm right in the middle of this stage, and I'm judging it. Yeah, that's where I'm going wrong. I'm judging everything, which whether it increases or hinders this helpfulness. So I'm hindering it because I'm judging the sorting out period, which obviously, because I'm...
Yeah. Which is what the ego is going to try and do. Because if you judge these illusions as real and you hold on to them because you're attached to them, then it keeps the ego intact. It keeps the separate self still very much alive. You have to see that all of it is designed to help you to let go of all of these false attachments, to let go of all illusions.
So even your health as well. Yeah, if you've got good health and then you obviously get a problem, you've got to, that's also another lesson.
Of course, it's all a lesson. Whatever seemingly goes wrong here is there to show you that the entire construct of the ego is wrong because it's false. So you can't rely on it at all. So let it all go. That's the only answer. There's only one problem in the world. It seems like many problems, but there's only one problem. The problem is you have valued incorrectly. You've valued what is false, and you've made it true in your mind and in your perception. That's the problem. And the solution is we'll stop valuing falsely. Let go of these false values because they don't serve you. That makes sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. It's difficult.
It's only the helpfulness that gives them any degree of reality in this illusory world. right? So they only have any reality because they are helpful in the plan of the at-one-ment. The word value can apply to nothing else, cannot apply to anything else. So it's only valuable because it's taking you closer to God. The word value cannot apply to anything else, anything that's temporary. Okay, and then read number 3.
Yeah.
Where are we? Third stage.
Yeah. This third stage, I must go through a period of relinquishment. If I misinterpret this as giving up what is desirable, I will experience great inner conflict. Yeah. Few teachers of perfect love are completely spared this distress. However, there is no sense in distinguishing the valuable from the valueless if I don't take the next logical step. Therefore, this period of overlap is often when I feel compelled to sacrifice my best interests for truth. I haven't yet realized how utterly impossible such a demand is. I can only learn this by actually letting go of my belief in the valueless. Through this, I learn that what I expected sorrow, I find joyful lightheartedness, and where I thought I was being asked to sacrifice, I receive a gift. Yeah.
Okay, thoughts on that?
Just again, it's letting go, but we are compelled to, hang on to a few things. But what's that? I haven't yet realized how utterly impossible such a demand is. What does that mean?
Well, read it in context. What's the previous sentence?
For the period of overlap is often when I feel compelled to sacrifice my best interests for truth. Oh, yeah. So we're still valuing the valueless, and through that we are going to be struggling to find the truth. That's why it's saying it's. So we haven't realized how utterly impossible such a demand is. So it's all or nothing, isn't it, really? So as it
So what
says,
he's saying, at some point he says this course will be believed entirely or not at all. You value the illusion or you value the truth, but you can't value both. It's one or the other. If you actually start giving up the valueless, you find joy and happiness and lightheartedness. Where you thought it was going to be a sacrifice, you actually receive a gift. And you can only learn this experientially by actually doing it. When you actually let go and experience, what's beyond it, then, that's the most convincing thing of all, isn't it? That's the experience that tells you, yes, actually, this is real, this is true, because I've actually experienced it. I am experiencing it daily, hourly, moment by moment. And that experience is enormously liberating. So it's all good. This is what I like about this is he's very honest, isn't he? He's saying, okay, this is what it's going to take. This is how trust is developed, and these first 3 stages are difficult. Saying you can give it up. It doesn't need to be painful, but it usually is so experienced because we are attached, and letting go of these things we value seems to be painful.
Yeah. It doesn't have to
But
be.
if it's not even real, then how can How can losing the unreal be painful? It can only be painful if you value the unreal and you make it real, which is then the mistake you're making. So when the unreal fails, as it always will, and it fails to last and to fulfill your expectations of that this is going to make me happy forever, then that's a great lesson to show you that the entire thought system
It's silly.
is false. It's wrong, and you can't rely on it for any kind of sustainable peace, joy, happiness. That is a very foolish thing to do. To think that you'll find it there in an illusion, because has it ever worked? Has it ever brought you, sustainable peace, love, and joy? By believing in these illusions.
No. It's very
If you're honest, it hasn't, has it?
No, it's just roller coaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
You'll get the good moments, and then you'll quickly
happen. Yeah, but then it changes. So it's not sustainable. It's changing all the time. And we cling to that which we know. Oh, well, at least that gives me something. But that little something, the scraps the ego is feeding you, are really designed to help you to stay in its thought system, so that you don't let it go and you don't become aware of the far greater awareness of perfect love that lies beyond it.
Down to trust as well. Trust. Yeah. Letting go and trust. Yeah.
Yeah, and the two go hand in glove. When you trust, you can let go more. And the more you let go, the more you learn to trust.
Yeah.
And this is the development, we learn by letting go. You develop trust as you let go. And the more you've let go, the more you go, well, I can let go some more. And I'm trusting this process, because look, it didn't all, it wasn't all a disaster when I let go. Actually, it's very good. The changes that happened were positive.
Yeah.
And so we learn to trust a bit more by experientially,
by
experience.
Which
okay,
I have
if I
done.
let go, a miracle happens. Okay, well, that wasn't so bad. Let me do it a bit more.
Yeah, which I have done. So, it has given me an element of trust, but it's that complete leap of faith. That's the bit
let it all go and say, all right.
Yeah, that's the hardest. Yeah.
The headline quote of this course is, the day I knew peace is the day I let everything go. Everything go. Everything that I valued here falsely, in other words, every attachment in this world, every desire, every fear, every scrap of anxiety, every need to control, the day I let it all go is the day I knew peace.
Yeah, no, and I get that definitely conceptually, but again, experience, yes, I've had glimpses, and I think I can see that once you have really truly let go, then you can appreciate what is in your life, but in a more how would you put it, loving awareness way. The flower or whatever it is that you're admiring, it'll be in a more just like in a loving awareness, but without the attachment.
Yeah, you don't get attached to form. So you see the essence rather than the form. The essence of the flower is eternally beautiful, because it's the same essence within you and within every person and within every living being.
Yes.
That's what makes it beautiful. So you connect with that more and more.
Yeah. So I mean, I've definitely experienced that, but just like I say, I'm at a stage now where there's just that little letting go of trust is still hanging on for dear life, and it's really throwing some lessons at me, that's for sure.
Yeah. And there's a reason why the ego is hanging on for dear life, because it is its existence. If you really let it go, then that's it. It's game over. There's no more separate self. Elaine dies.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the whole point.
Yeah, so to
Elaine dies, but what comes beyond Elaine is the true self. The Christ is resurrected on the grave of Elaine. And your body doesn't have to die to do this. That's the beauty of it.
That's actually a relief. that's actually a relief, but I can tell which mind I'm in, because when I think of Elaine dying, when I'm in the separate self, it's scary.
Of course.
When,
Yeah.
but then when
Terrifying.
it's in the other right-minded, it's actually a relief.
Yeah.
So it's
No more
interesting.
lanes. None of the fretting and the worrying and the need
Oh,
to control everything and the
the
need to
ups
be
and the downs.
perfect, the need to be right and the ups and the downs and none of the problems of Elaine's existence exists.
Mm.
If Elaine dies, then that's it.
Which
That
is
the
wonderful
problems go with it.
to the right
Yeah.
mind, but when you think it, well, when you're in the ego mind,
Yeah.
because then you feel scared. So it's quite interesting
Yes.
that,
Well, the
yeah,
ego fears its demise. It's like, oh, but then I don't exist.
yeah,
And that's the whole point. You're not supposed to exist. That's the whole point. The ego doesn't exist. That's the point of this.
yeah.
It never did exist. It's an illusion of an existence that has caused you immense pain and suffering for a long, long time.
Mm.
And so
Well,
now
on
its
and off.
day of
Yeah.
reckoning has come because the truth is upon it. It's like, okay, you know the truth. This truth is very clear. This course is very clear in its expounding of the truth. And the more you study it, the more it's like, well, the message is loud and clear. I get it.
Mm.
All right, and we all go through this, and I've been. I mean, I was
You've been through
terrified. Remember,
it.
like
You've just
about
been
10
honest,
years
yes, yeah,
ago, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
yeah.
I
Oh,
came to the UK, and everything just deconstructed. My life up to that point was reasonably okay, and I'd kind of got things sorted, but it was within a construct, and then it was like, whoa, all that's gone, stripped away in a
right.
year. I got married, had a son, moved countries, changed
Huge change.
careers, and it's like, yeah, massive change in
Yeah, yeah.
a very short time. But it was exactly what I needed to awaken. It was like, what,
Right.
all of that stuff I'd got comfortable with and I'd settled with in South Africa, and I was like, okay, it's okay. My
Lot of,
existence was always on the edge because I was kind of I was a solo entrepreneur, and I was running
mm,
workshops and retreats, and income was always a problem, but somehow I kind of managed.
yeah,
I got
yeah,
through. But it was kind of comfortable, and there was an identity there. Okay, well, I'm a spiritual teacher and I'm teaching the course, and I can talk it. I understood the concepts.
yeah, yeah.
But when it actually came to it, and it's like, whoa, my God, actually I'm really, really struggling now to just make any sense of what's happened to my life, and the
Mm,
difficulty and the mental and emotional pain I'm going through, and what
mm,
is it all about? And then I can remember this voice going, and I was like, okay, but I've got to just practice this course. This is my lifeline. And
mm,
then there's this
mm,
voice. And I still remember the day. I was climbing some steps, and it was like, I still remember that moment. It was like, yeah, I remember this voice, the ego's voice saying, Jesus, John, this stuff's going to kill you. That was the voice in my
Yeah,
head.
no, I've said that to myself as well. Yes.
This stuff's going to kill you. Yeah, because it will. The ego knows that. And then, immediately the Holy Spirit came in and went, yeah, I kind of laughed. Yeah, the point. Did you think you were going to become enlightened and hold on to the ego?
That makes
I
sense.
mean,
Yeah.
that's totally unrealistic. Of course, you're not going to hold on to the ego. And so you know that conceptually, okay, well, you got to die to the separate self. And we've heard these words, haven't we? You've got to die to the
Yeah, yeah,
separate
yeah.
self, be reborn into the spirit, and all of this language. But when it's actually happening to it's traumatic.
Scary.
The separate self is
Mm,
like, oh my God, I'm dying. I can't handle this. It
yeah,
feels like everything's being, pulled away. The rug's being pulled out from under me. And I'm dying, and I don't want to die, and I want to hold on to this life, even though my life is miserable and it sucks and I can't stand it.
yeah.
I still want to hold on to it. It's bizarre.
It is. Well, it's not so much. I mean, yeah, it depends on what lifestyle you've got. I mean, obviously, I'm older, so I've got my pets, you know.
Hmm.
So, and life isn't bad really on the level of form. There's no way I can grumble at all. But it just feels superficial.
It's
You
it's
just
it's
don't.
it's comfortable on one level, but
Yeah,
on another, it can satisfy you because it's illusion. It's an illusion can
yes,
never satisfy you.
because it's
Yeah,
temporary.
that's the
You,
message.
Well, you just know that looking at all your lovable pets and your spouse and all of the ones that know and are used to, it's not going to be. It's all
Not
temporary.
going to
Yeah,
last.
I
It's all
know.
temporary. In 20 years, it's all going to be gone.
Well,
All of
that's
it.
right. All of it. Yes, absolutely.
So then you're like, well, how could how could I realistically value that as any kind of permanent basis for my happiness, my peace of mind?
Which I know, yeah, deep down, because I'm like looking at my pets, and there's one here who's 15, and I think, oh,
Yeah,
it's not long for you to go, and then I get
yeah,
scared. It's fearful.
yeah.
It's just horrible. It is. It's
Yeah.
horrible, really.
Then what
So
most
all,
people do is they go, well, I'll just get another pet. I'll replace it. I'll get
and
a
then go
puppy,
through
and
the
then
same thing again.
and then you go through the same cycle again, and the puppy gets
I know.
old, and then it dies, and then you like, okay,
Well, that's right. Yeah, it's
learn the lesson. It's like, okay, the puppy, no form is going to satisfy you truly. The only thing that's going to truly satisfy you is the eternal,
mm,
the formless awareness of perfect love. That's the only thing
mm.
to go for. So it doesn't mean you can't have pets,
No, no,
but
no.
don't rely on them for your happiness and your peace.
No, because
Don't.
I just know that, yeah, I can just see it with this Patty, my 15-year-old. I'm looking at her and thinking, better make the most of her because she could be
Yeah,
gone tomorrow. It's not nice,
yeah.
really, is it?
And
This is what we
inevitably
live.
she will. There will come a day where she
Oh,
dies. Inevitably.
yeah, she's near her time. She's,
It's
16 this
exactly,
year.
you can see. It's like inevitably. So that's the story of the ego. It doesn't
Yeah,
last, the thing dies. And pets can be great learning because they die much more quickly than humans.
yeah.
10, 15 years, and then they die. Okay, and then you've got to face that
The
loss of
grief,
this.
the
Yeah.
grief. Oh,
You were
yeah, no.
attached to what was not real.
Mm,
You see, you falsely valued the pet as a substitute. This is special love, substituting for the love of
yeah,
God.
yeah,
And it's so deeply entrenched in this world and in our experience that most people don't even question it. So, well, and I'll just get another pet. And then I'll go through the same cycle. And I might do that, 5 times, 6 times in my life.
yeah.
If you live to a decent age, you might have, 5 or 6 sets of pets that last 10 or 15 years. And they
But
just keep doing it.
but it's quite, if you get a very, special love with them, then it's painful when they go. It's painful,
Yeah.
the grief
But
and
But
yeah,
you valued wrongly, right? You valued a form over the essence. That's the problem. That's why you
yeah,
experience the pain and the grief.
of
So the
course.
lessons don't value form because form will let you down every time because it's
Mm,
not true. Value
yeah,
the essence. The essence of the pet is the essence of you, is the essence of every human being, is the essence of everything. Well, you can't really lose that because it's the very fundamental essence of everything. The essence of your
yeah,
pet is you. So if you
yes,
if you truly understand that, you can't lose anything because it's already in you. How can you lose what you already have?
yeah. Oh, yeah,
You can appreciate it in your pet, but don't rely on the form of the pet to give you, a sort of temporary sense of peace and happiness and whatever, because
well, yeah, no,
you don't.
you can, yeah, I think, yeah, no, I mean, I do get that, but like I say with Patty, obviously, I'll give her a nice sort of hug, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No,
But it's just when it's the mental chatter that starts going, oh, but there's not long
yeah,
left, blah, blah, because I can see her
yeah,
legs are wobbling and her back legs are starting to
yeah,
go, and straight away,
yeah,
oops, not long. And then the fear
yeah.
comes in.
Because
That's,
you feel like you're going to lose something that's of value. So when
yeah,
that happens, that's when you face the ego and you go, okay, but I'm valuing the valueless here. I'm valuing form, which is perishable. So let me not do that. I can let go of these feelings because they're not real. And I can go beyond them into my true essence, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love. And I can find that right now. And you connect with that. And there's the
Mm.
correction. There's the miracle when you can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't matter when Patty goes, because you have the eternal. You have something that cannot let you down, that is permanent and eternal in your mind.
But I mean, it's still nice to have the fond memories that we've had together. Yeah.
But it's all illusion. That's nostalgia. Do you see?
Yeah.
There is no
Yeah. Of
past.
course. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem
Yeah.
is if you hang on to that, well, I've got nice memories, but then, then immediately I think of the nice memories. The mind goes, oh, but you don't have her now. So now you
But yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
never
Of
have
course.
those experiences again. It's over. Oh, now I feel like I'm missing out because she's not here
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
So
Yeah.
that's the problem. I see only the past. I mean, it's a great lesson for a great
Oh,
example
yes. Yeah.
for today's lesson. I see only the past.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I don't see the past because there is no
Yeah.
past. Those memories, those experiences never really happened.
It's just interesting because, for a few months I was really sort of getting it, but it obviously clearly was conceptual. I wasn't
Yeah.
experiencing it because it's all of a sudden the latter few weeks I've been feeling a bit on and off. So
Yeah.
going through a bit of a stage of relinquishment and it
Yeah.
in this, and the ego is really, yeah,
Fighting. Yeah.
fighting, yeah, scared, blah, blah, blah. It really, yeah. It's finding all ways.
And so what it means is you're heading down this curve. Let's find
I mean, it's not that I
the
haven't gone through difficult times before, when I've had loss, you feel, these sort of dark, dark periods, should we say. But obviously I'm on this journey now
there's the hero's journey. Well,
yeah,
you've been doing this diligently for over
for
a
over
year
a
now,
year.
eh?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And to be
that's a lot
honest,
of, and you put in, thousands of hours into
and I was
practice.
really, yeah, I was really getting glimpses of real,
Hmm.
genuine peace
Yeah.
and, very excited about the journey. And yeah,
Hmm.
obviously I had my challenges.
Hmm.
And just all of a sudden it's just another
Hmm.
little bit of another obstacle again.
Yeah.
So it's not
Which
plain
is, I
sailing.
mean, you look at the hero's journey, it's trials and failure, trials,
Yes.
tribulations, failure, and that's the only way you grow.
Yeah.
You grow and you get new skills, and the only skill really that you need to learn is to let go. That's the only skill, the art of letting go. That's all you have to master. But when I say all you have to master, that is huge.
It
It's
is,
a, it's
yes.
a, it's a really,
What
it's the
does it
most
actually,
difficult
yeah,
thing for us to master. Oh, well, I just let everything go and I have no attachment and I'll let go of myself, my separate
it's
self
not,
that I
yeah, no,
think was me. This is what it's asking you to do, to let go of who you thought you were and your entire life and life history and story. Okay. Wow. That's not
it's a
that's not
biggie. Yeah, it
simple.
is.
It's not easy
No,
because you
so
thought this was you and you were convinced it was you at some point.
yeah,
And now this is saying, no, it was never you. And actually, you've got to let this separate self go and die to the ego. The death is of the ego, not of the physical body,
no,
to
no,
be
yeah.
reborn in the spirit as you truly are, the true self that
And
is beyond the separate self.
yeah, that one there is a real leap of faith to get into that
Mm,
one where the rebirth, that's a
mm.
real leap of faith.
Well,
Mm,
if you keep going, you will get there inevitably. If you keep on this path, you will go into that. It's
yeah.
inevitable. That's the hero's journey. That's why it's in this archetypal journey that Joseph Campbell put together based on all the myths and the legends and the teachings. And he's like, well, this is the archetype of the hero's journey to awakening. It's in every culture and religion and tradition. So this is how it works. You
Yeah.
must go through the death and the rebirth to be reborn into the spirit. The ego must die. That's the whole point.
Mm.
Conceptually, you can look, oh, yeah, I get that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, well, I was
Very
thinking
easy
that,
to conceptually get it. Oh, okay, I got this taped, got it
and I
handled.
got some
Yeah,
nice
okay. You go
relaxed.
through the dark nights of the soul when the ego's dying and then see if it's easy. No, it's not easy at all.
No, I
It's
can't imagine it
really,
would be. I'm
well, I
struggling
mean,
with the trials and the failures.
you, you're starting. It's a process. You're starting that undoing.
Yes,
This is
yeah.
the kind of the warm up
Well, it's the last
to
sort
like,
of, yeah, the last sort of month, I would say. I think we were talking about this because I thought there were snakes, but it's the fire there, isn't it?
yeah.
Under the, yes, that's when the real, but
No, and
yes, it says it doesn't
we
have to be
started the
paid.
course again. So you're going into a new phase. We
Yeah,
started
yeah.
the course 2 weeks ago. So, then it kind of it gets ramped up again. It's like, okay, this is why you do it every year, because like, hey, it's another cycle of it.
Mm.
Because like, okay, the job isn't fully done. You're not fully
No,
enlightened. You go through the
no.
process again. And in that
Yeah.
process, another layer or two of the ego can get shed. And that's what you want. And you keep doing that. If you keep practicing and doing that, eventually it's got to go.
Mm.
And the true self is revealed. And then you can actually live a life that is a happy dream. It's still a dream, but it's relatively happy and
Yeah.
peaceful, and nothing really bothers you. And you're preparing for, the day you depart your body, you lay the body aside, and
Mm.
then you've done your work and you return
Yeah,
to back home.
yeah.
There's the timeline. So if you're diligent in this letting go and you practice it, by the end of your life, you really very strongly identified with this pure
The
formless
source.
awareness of perfect love. That
Mm.
experience is very strong. You're having these kinds of experiences. So you're ready then to just lay the body aside and go, well,
Mm.
I'll just merge back into that awareness. I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just merging back in to that which is already there and which I've now come to know and understand as my true awareness through this, process of practice in my life. And then I'm ready for it. And then I can just go back there and I don't have to bypass it again and stay in the ego and inevitably have to come back, because the ego will mean that you will come back into this world and have another life,
Mm.
so that you can play it out
I can
as
never
long as you
really
believe you're a
understand
separate
that
self.
bit. I can never
Yeah.
understand that bit. It's how you come back. I mean, again, that's obviously I never quite understand how we know that until we're in the eternal.
If you believe you're a separate self and you don't have a body anymore, but your mind is still convinced that you're a separate self, and you've still
Oh,
got the
see,
guilt.
yes, I get you. Yeah,
And the
yeah.
guilt at the apparent, separation and apparent destruction of perfect love in your mind. That guilt and that idea of separation will cause you to reincarnate
Yeah, yeah.
inevitably, because that
It's from the
thought
mind, not the
system is
body.
still very much in your
I'm,
mind,
yeah,
and
sorry, I was thinking the
unconsciously
body.
you will
Yeah,
come back into a body. Right?
yeah. Because
Your
we're
mind
all
will
one.
find another body to come into, because what else can it do if it believes it's separate? But to play out the separation by coming into another body and having another lifetime and experiencing all of the effects now of being a separate self again. And so you play out your karma again
Yeah.
until you've resolved it, until you've let go of the idea that you're a separate self. You come back and you come back again and again, and you go through whatever experiences you have in life. A lot of them are not pleasant, until you realize that none of them are true, that you're living in a dream world of your own making. You made all of this up precisely to be a separate self. That's the only purpose, because you wanted to have your own identity. And so you make up a separated identity, and then a body and a world for the body to live in with all these other separate identities to play out your dream of separation. And when you realize the futility of that, then you wake up. You go, well, there's no point in that. There's absolutely no point other than to be a separate self. If you really want to be a separate self, then yeah, or continue ad infinitum. But look at the downside of being a separate self. Look at what you have to go through in this world. Is it worth it?
No.
And anyone who's honest will come to realize that it's not worth it. You can have pure formless awareness of perfect love, right? Perfect bliss for all eternity. Or you can have this world with all of its ups and its downs and its pain and its suffering and its misery and its sickness and its death. And yes, some successes and some nice experiences and some pleasure in there, maybe. But overall, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Would you want to do it again? If you had to come back and do Elaine's life over again, would you really want to do that?
Not really,
Oh,
no.
well, there, you answered immediately. You wouldn't.
But no, it's just too up and down.
Oh.
It's you'll have an up, but then you think, well, you know that there's going to be a downside. So yeah.
So would you want to do it again? No. Well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
You come back, it won't be exactly the same. It'd be another body, another lifetime, but same stuff being experienced. If that's in your ego psychological and emotional energy, then you experience that karma again, that these thoughts and emotions have to play out in form. And so then you have, a life that's up and down again. And everyone's life, it's a very mixed bag. Occasionally, you might have a life that's very successful. It's possible, but then, what's your next one going to be? If
Well,
someone,
people like Richard Branson, he's had a very successful life, I suppose, hasn't he?
maybe,
But I'd be happy though.
no doubt, he's had his share of pain
But
and suffering.
is he truly happy? I
Wasn't all
don't think
easy.
so. I wouldn't have said he.
Maybe he is. Maybe I
don't think so.
depends on
I know he
on his
likes
state of
lots
mind.
of. He's got a hedonist lifestyle, hasn't he? So he's obviously
I
done
think
very
there's some
well.
spiritual awareness there, but
Yeah.
in the end, everyone's going to get old, and they're gonna get aged eventually, and they're going to die. So it doesn't matter what you've done and all of the adventures. Eventually, this is what it comes to. Now he's getting to that part of his life. He's in his 70s. It's like, well, what you're starting to wind down.
Yeah.
And inevitably it ends up in death. No matter what you've done and no matter how successful you were, it all goes to one point. Because the ego is a death wish, so it brings you to death. So what was the point of it, really?
Well, you leave
The
it to
honest
his.
side.
You maybe leave it. He'll be happy to leave all his wealth to his children.
Maybe, but when you leave this world, your wealth means nothing. You go into another realm. So in the non-physical, the non-material, that just is irrelevant. Doesn't matter.
No, true. Yeah.
The only thing that matters really is the state of your mind when you let the body go. That's all. That's what matters ultimately. If you're in a state of peace, happiness, love, and joy, and you've completely let go of all the ego's nonsense, then your life's been successful because you've attained this ultimate state, the awareness of who you are, know thyself. And that's the only point of your life. Everything else is incidental. The wealth you accumulated, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So it's just to realize this, but realize this on a deeper level. Realize it experientially.
That's the one, the experience, rather than
Okay, I'm really feeling this, and you feel it, you get it experientially when you go through the pain. You don't gloss over all of this pain. You actually experience it, and it hurts, and it can be really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Then you're not metaphysically ghosting over it or spiritually bypassing it.
Oh, I'm letting it come up bit by bit, with
and facing it, and okay, I need to let what can I do? I just got to let go of this.
Yeah, well, I was doing a meditation this
feeling.
afternoon. I did 2 meditations this afternoon. One, I felt very relaxed, and it sort of shifted my anxiety, or whatever you want to call it, or stress. And then the second one I did, it brought it all back up again.
Yeah.
So that was strange.
No, really. So that's actually a good meditation, because
Oh,
it's bringing it up so that it can be released.
well, the first 20 minutes was quite, I thought, oh, yeah, no, that felt a shift, we've a real shift. But then the second one I did was just all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mind
Because
attack, as
the
they
ego is
call it.
fighting back, and it's going, no,
Yeah, what's all this meditation? Yeah,
You're
what's
not
all this?
going there. So let's bring up all of your stuff and tell
Yeah,
you about the pain and the suffering and the trauma. And
yeah.
you're not going to find this peace, because in this peace it ceases to exist. But it reveals itself. The more it reveals itself, the more you can let it go. So ultimately, it's doomed. Spirit can reinterpret it and say, okay, well, there you go. Do you want that?
Mm.
Do you want this insane, vicious that? And the more it
No.
reveals itself, the more you go, my God, this is insane. This is just
Well,
completely
it's just
nuts.
too unpredictable. Like you say, the first meditation was, a nice shift and felt good. And then the next one, I was mind was all over the place. I didn't seem
Yeah.
to have any control.
Yeah. So the ego is just
Strange.
coming up very strongly.
Yeah.
Because it wants to keep you on the timeline, wants to keep you rooted as a separate self, identifying with what you experience on the timeline as real, and it keeps then this ego psychological and emotional attachments in place, and that keeps you in this world, identified with this world, with your journey as a separate self, as a body inevitably going to die. And it wants you to keep identifying with that, so that it can experience, because it can live through you. These thoughts and emotions want to have an existence, and they exist in and through your mind and your life, you see.
Yeah. Well, it's just a constant roller coaster. Like I say, it's pretty pointless, isn't it? At times, as you say, it's
What is the
at
point?
times. Mm.
If
Well,
you
it's
look
just
at it honestly, from this high level perspective, you could have pure formless awareness of perfect love for all eternity, right? Nothing ever goes wrong. It's just perfect. It's blissful. It's peaceful. There's no suffering. There's no pain. There's no death. You could have that, or you could have this world with all of the
unpredictable. That's
ups and the downs and
very
inevitable pain
unpredictable.
and suffering and death. I mean, who in their right mind would choose it? Who in their right mind, knowing the choices honestly, seeing them honestly, would choose this world? That would just be an insane choice, wouldn't it? When you look at them honestly.
Yeah.
But the ego doesn't want you to see with this clarity. So what it's very good at doing is obscuring the truth. And so, most people don't know that pure formless awareness of perfect love is there, that it even exists. It's been obscured. And the ego gets them to focus just on their life and trying to make something of their life in this world, and navigating through all the difficulties and the traumas, and trying to achieve maybe pleasure or success or whatever they define as success is. And it gets you to focus on all of this so that it keeps you away from this awareness. Because it knows that if you go into this awareness, that's it, it's game over. One glimpse of this is enough to undo the ego. You have, I've had it, I've been there. It's like, oh my, that was just so amazing. You can't even put words to it. It was just incredible, amazing. Just like, why wouldn't I want that experience all the time? I could just stay in that experience forever. That's just that. Surely that would just be amazing. Pure bliss forever.
That was when you went to the 10-day
Yeah.
retreat, isn't it? The silent
Yeah.
retreat.
But it was just a glimpse. It didn't last for very long.
But
But it was enough. The glimpse was enough to say, well, yeah, that exists. You've experienced it in that very short window of
So
time.
you
Well,
can now trust.
why could that not, why could that experience not be forever? Why could that not be my default experience, my eternal experience? If it's there and I've experienced it once, maybe I could experience it again. And this is then you start to know experientially the truth.
Yeah.
Yes, I
That's then
could.
when you have to trust.
Yeah, the possibilities then there. Yes, I could experience. I could go back into this absolutely beautiful, blissful state, and I could just stay there, and I could just not come here again. And all of this crazy illusion of a life, I could just let it all go and transcend it and never have to come here again. And that possibility is what we work towards. Oh, wow, that would be amazing. Just to bliss out in that awareness and not have to do anything, to think about anything, not have to solve any problems, not have to deal with the inevitable problems and challenges of this world. Just so nice. Nothing, I need do nothing in that state. It's perfect, it's whole, it's complete. I'm totally supported, taken care of, unconditional love. So I don't need to do anything. I don't need to justify anything. Just surrender to it, just be in it. Amazing. Like just who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? Well, only the ego, which is insane, is attached to its own identity, which requires the suffering. The ego has to suffer in order to exist. What a crazy identity that is. Without suffering, it wouldn't exist.
Yeah, but we all seem
When
to
you see the
be.
clarity of this, you're like, well, it is born in suffering. It's doomed to suffering and death. This is not.
It's not funny.
It's not a workable thought in peace and love and joy in this thought system, because it is doomed to suffering and death from the beginning, from the design of it. You know what I mean? It's a design flaw. It is doomed from the
Well,
beginning.
just well, it's in the safety of the womb, and then all of a sudden thrown into, madness.
It's shocking. I mean, the birth experience is absolutely shocking. You're in this, nice, comfortable place. It's a bit like the separation. You think of the birth experience into this world. It's similar. It's a similar kind of trauma to the original separation. Oh, everything was nice, and you were just really warm and comfortable in pure formless awareness, and then wham, suddenly, mad idea of separation. Oh, I think we'll leave this warm, comfortable home, and we'll go into this, cold, harsh, cruel environment. And what's going on? I don't know what's happening now. I'm very confused, and my mind's just gone mad. What a trauma. So it's kind of a mirror of that. And actually the birth trauma is quite significant in many people. So then they do techniques like rebirthing to help them let it go.
Because it was traumatic, the experience.
Yeah. Well, you come out of this lovely, comfortable, womb. Everything's just so nice in the womb.
There's
And then
nothing to do. You're in bliss.
suddenly it's like, yeah, I didn't have to do anything. It's just, and then, wow, okay. Now suddenly, what? My lifeline's been cut off. I've got to breathe. Body fluid all over the place, strange place, lights.
Bright lights and
what the hell's going on?
And then,
Of course you're gonna cry. It's no wonder they come out crying. Oh my God, what's going on? This is, traumatic in the extreme.
yeah. And then the same happens when we have to leave the world. Most people, it's not. That's painful as well, isn't it? Well, generally. Can be, yeah. Can be, certainly.
So,
well, same with my mother, yeah.
Depending on, if they're sick, or the idea would just be like, okay, bye, and you
Well,
just
if it
leave.
was instant, then
But
that's fine. But it's not. I know with my grandmother and my mother, it was
yeah,
certainly
often they
painful.
linger, and it's sickness, and it's
Oh,
suffering.
yeah,
Oh,
not nice.
no, well, it's just
Yeah.
so we've got to look very honestly at the ego's thought system and go, no, it just doesn't work. It's not nice. It's not something I could ever consciously choose again. How can I choose this insanity anymore? When I understand that it is insane, when I understand that there's a better choice, how can I choose it consciously?
That's
The ego
spirit.
only got you to choose it. It's going to win as an alternative. It tells you that this is all there is. This world, your separate self, your body, this is all there is. So make the most of it.
Which is, it's not nice, is it really? So people are
No, it's a
just,
horrible one. Look at, if you lay it out like I'm doing in these diagrams, it's awful thought system. Look at it. Horrible. Filled with fear and guilt and sin and attack thoughts, and then the accusation and the blame and the attack that go on in this world. Just, look at the news, open a newspaper, read it, go look, watch the
oh
watch the
yeah, yeah,
nightly
yeah.
news, and you see,
Oh yeah,
world full of, sometimes occasionally I don't really watch the news, but occasionally you hear a headline or something on the
yeah, yeah.
on
Me
the
too.
TV or radio. Oh, well, the Lord Mayor, what did I hear the other day or today? The Lord Mayor of London has accused Rishi Sunak of this and this and this.
I
I mean,
know.
accusation. Why are you
Yeah.
accusing him of, but this is how the world works.
Mm.
And these
Oh,
are like our
the,
leaders.
yeah. The politics, I lost faith in them years ago. Yeah,
Because they're clueless. They're all caught up in their egos.
very
The
much.
thought system of guilt and fear and sin and attack. So they accuse and they blame and they complain and they attack others. And they have no idea who they are. If you're doing that, you have no idea who you are. So your leaders have no idea who they are. Oh, that's good. That's a good start, isn't it, to any leadership? You don't
I
know who
know.
you are. So who's making the decisions then? Who or what is causing you to make these decisions to lead people in a certain direction? Well, clearly the ego then. It's not your true self, it's the false self or the ego. And no wonder we've got such a mess of a world, because the ego's running it by and large.
Mm.
And every now and then you get a more enlightened being who comes into a leadership position, but it's rare. Nelson Mandela, good example. But it took 27 years, certain circumstances, 27 years of imprisonment to create that. He had to live like a monk for 27 years to prepare him to be that, enlightened, wise, humble leader. Well, most, Western politicians are not going to go through that, are they?
No,
They don't go through that
no.
kind of intense spiritual practice and a huge opportunity to let go. He had to let go and let go some more. He had to let go of everything he thought he valued. He lost his life. He had a life, he had a family. So, okay, that's all taken away. So what do you have left then but your spirit?
Yeah.
And that's what he found in those 27 years in prison. And so then he was prepared to come into the world and to express that, to show people, look, this is actually the spirit. This is how it can be. This is how it can be. There is another way. But it's unusual. It doesn't happen very often. Because the ego is the dominant thought system in this world. So it's all good, Elaine. You see it for what it is and you go, do I
Yeah.
want this? No, I don't want any of this.
No.
I am
I'm
willing
tired. I'm
to
tired
let
of
it
it.
all go. I'm very tired of this illusion. I'm tired of trying to make a thought system that's impossible work. Try and find some scraps of peace and happiness and joy in a life that is flawed by design, from the beginning, from the outset. The whole thing is flawed. How can a reality based on a lie ever really work? And that's all Yeshua is asking us to see, be very honest and say, yeah, okay, it isn't ever going to work. Now that's devastating for the ego.
Yeah, I was just going to
What a
say,
relief to your spirit. I mean, when you
yeah,
understand it, like, oh, well, thank God. Actually, I don't have to try and make the impossible work anymore and somehow make something of my life in this world against all the odds, because it just doesn't seem to be happening. I just have to realize the truth that it doesn't work. It was never designed to work. Life in this world was never designed to work. In fact, it was designed to create pain and suffering and ultimately kill you. Oh, what a revelation when you understand that. Okay. Well, now the world's making sense to me, isn't it?
mm,
Well, no wonder
yeah,
it's such a mess, because that's what it was designed to be by this ego. Of course, I get it. Ah, what a relief. Someone's actually told me the truth, finally, and I can just accept that truth and I can be free
mm.
of trying to make this impossible world work. And time and again failing,
Well, it
I
lets
can
you
just
down.
let it all go.
Just, yeah, there's just always something that will be thrown at you, usually off guard or whatever. Yeah, there's always
There's
something.
always something. Things, it's a mess. Things change all the time. There's no certainty.
No, no, there's certainly not that. Yeah.
There's all this undercurrent of guilt and sin and fear and attack and eventually death. I'm like, really? Do you really want that? And you could have pure formless awareness and perfect love. That's what Yeshua is saying. Do you really want all this? Is it really worth it?
No, it's not.
Or are you willing to listen to me and awaken to the truth of who you are? And I will help you in that. And it's actually very doable. It's not impossible. It's, in fact, the most natural thing you can do, because you're just becoming what you already are. You're realizing who you already are. It's just, that awareness has been buried for a long, long time. You just got to rediscover it. Is that really so hard to be who you are?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Yeah, it's.
No, it's difficult because we've so convinced ourselves that we are something else.
Mm,
We have done a number on ourselves of no, convinced ourselves to the nth degree, to the point where we've invented another world and a body,
oh
seemingly
yeah,
living in that world with other bodies, to convince ourselves that we are in fact separate,
it's
because
just
that's
yeah.
what our egos wanted.
Well, it's just madness, really, because you
Mm.
look at all the things you've tried for, like you buy your house, then you paid your mortgage off, you're coming towards retirement, you've worked and done all your skills to get the work that and then well, then you think, "But what for?"
Yeah,
Because now it's
exactly.
all just going to disappear.
Yeah. It's all very
So,
temporary, and in 100 years, it'll all be in 50 years, it'll all be gone, and no one will remember. Give it one
yeah,
generation, no one will remember you. Gone, Elaine gone, life gone. Look at some of these old movies. You
mm,
see people running around these cities like London or New York or whatever, and they're all like scurrying around, very busy. Like they're all gone. No one knows who they are anymore.
I know. Yeah, I've seen that.
100
Yes,
years, they're all gone. Everything that they believed was true. All of their, whatever they were busy with that
going
day,
through.
running, driving places, all gone, gone.
Yeah.
And the same is true now. You take a snapshot, people running around and doing their thing, going to work and driving around, and all gone in
The
100 years.
busyness and madness and everybody tooting
Busyness
it.
all gone and all erased, and so was any of it ever real? This is what
Mm,
Yes was saying to us. How could any of that have actually been real if it's comes and it goes? It's all just so temporary and so illusory. There's nothing permanent there.
mm,
The lives we
mm,
lead are illusory. They come and they go, they fade away. It's so brief.
mm.
We
So
live
when
70, 80, 90 years, and then it's gone, over.
so you went through the phase of sort of realizing that it doesn't really work, this life. So
Yeah,
was
like
was
going,
that when you
so
went to
what do you
your
do then? So what
Hmm?
do? Do you just kill yourself and go, well, what's even the
No,
point
no.
of continuing?
Well,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, you consider
Well,
it. It's like, well,
some people,
if it's
of
all an
course.
illusion and it's a nightmare,
Oh, yeah, no, I can
why not just
understand people. Yeah, yeah,
go
of
back
course.
to
Right.
pure promise of oneness of perfect love? But the problem is you do that and you haven't awoken and you haven't, really
Yeah,
corrected
yeah,
your
yeah,
mind.
yeah. Well, you try to avoid that,
Then
but of course, it
sorry for you,
depends.
you're coming, you're coming back. So you go through all of this and you
Hmm.
go like, well, what is the point of this world? Why even stay here? Why even bother with any of this stuff if it's
It's
not
just all
real?
striving, and then it's just competition. Make
Hmm,
sure you get your certificates, save your money. Oh my goodness.
hmm.
It's all
So
just
what
pressure,
happened then
pressure.
is that was when I changed my mind. And it was like, okay, actually, the only thing that makes any sense is this philosophy of letting go. It's the only thing that makes any sense at all. If I can consistently practice this and I can let go consistently of whatever's arising in my dream, then that's the best I can do in this life. In fact, that's the purpose of my life.
Hmm.
It's to consistently let go of whatever's arising so that I can ultimately let go of my ego. And that is, and do it. Okay. The purpose
Yeah.
is to consistently, systematically, progressively let go of my ego. That's the only point of my life. And I need to stay here for a while to finish that job. Yeah. So then you have a
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
to continue in the dream world because I haven't fully let go yet. I've still got some work
Hmm.
to do to undo my ego. And this is where we come into this world based on the ego to experience the ego. So that we then get the lesson so we can then reinterpret it and let it go. And then when you understand that, okay, well, my life does have a meaning. It's not the meaning I thought it had at all. But the purpose of it is it's a school. I'm in school and I'm learning to graduate to go back home. And so I need to learn my lessons. Because if I don't learn them in this lifetime, guess what? I'm coming back. And I'll have another one and another one until I've learned. And maybe I'm
Hmm.
tired of that cycle of birth and death. I just want to get the job done and learn my lessons in this one lifetime. So let me dedicate myself to that, and that is a worthy purpose in this life. And okay, I can do that. I can stay around for however long it takes. This is part of the letting go. Okay, well, Spirit, I'm not in charge. When it's my time, it's my time. But as if I'm here, then obviously I've still got more to learn. So
Yeah.
okay, that's all right. I can just dedicate my mind and my life to that learning process. And then your life starts to have some kind of purpose and meaning here. But that's the only meaning and purpose it does have. In and of itself, it's meaningless. You just take it as, well, Elaine's little life or Jono's little life, it doesn't mean anything. It's also temporary. It's going to be gone in 20, 30, 40 years. So who cares? Does it matter? No.
Hmm.
What matters is that in this lifetime, in these experiences, you can learn to let go of your ego, and you can once again become one with your source. And that is the whole point of the world. The world is designed ultimately for your at-one-ment, to return to source. That's the point of the world and the universe.
Yeah.
That's the
That,
at-one-ment plan. Okay,
yeah.
well, now at least I have the true understanding of what this world is for, and I can live my life that way. Okay, well, that means I actually have a meaning and a purpose in my life that is real, that is true and authentic, and I can actually live my life that way for as long as this, very temporary life lasts. It might only be a few more years, or it might be another 30 or 40 or 50 years. Who knows? But again, this is the surrender. It's not up to me to decide. I'm just going to follow the guidance
Yeah.
of the Spirit, day by day, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day. That's all I can do.
Hmm.
And when it's my time to leave, then it's my time to leave, and that's graduation day, and I can't know when that is.
No, no. But
Uh,
when you were
In
going
the
through the sort
meantime,
of dark night of the soul, if that's what you call it, I think that's what I've heard. That was
Yeah,
8 years
it
ago
was.
when you'd lost,
Yeah.
your sort of comfort of
Yeah.
your home in South Africa, and yeah,
Well,
that
I
was,
didn't really have a home. I was renting, but I had
yeah,
a
yeah,
kind of
your
the
family,
construct of a life. There was
yeah,
some
yeah,
kind of life and identity there. And I got sort of familiar with it and relatively comfortable. And there was a bit of status to it because I was kind of a spiritual teacher and people
yeah,
were kind of getting to know me. And it was like, it was, on the level form, I might have gone,
pleasant.
"Well, why are you giving all this up? You're doing good here." But actually, I needed that lesson. There's no doubt I needed to experience all of that, as painful as it was, because then I really started to understand the course. I was like, okay, I'm 10 years into this now, and I'm actually finally starting to get it.
Mm, mm,
And it was necessary, and it was necessary to go through that experience so that ultimately I could do this level of teaching and have this understanding and be able to start the Art of Letting Go course and put it online. And it was all a necessary part of the process. I wouldn't have been able to do this Art of Letting Go course if I hadn't come here. And then the ongoing program. It was all part of the divine design of my life. And then you start to go, well, yeah, I'm living in the miraculous, and it's guiding me and it's showing me. And there is a point and a meaning and a purpose to this temporary life because it's about awakening myself and others from the dream. And that's a worthy purpose. That's the only purpose that we're here for. And then you have inspiration rather than motivation. You are in the spirit. You are inspired by the ultimate purpose of this world, which is awakening, rather than any temporary motivation to go, oh, well, I'll do this because I'll get some outcome on the level of form that I value. And inspiration will beat motivation every time because inspiration speaks to the eternal. It's permanent, it's sustainable because it comes from the eternal. So it will never let you down. Whereas the motivation of the ego is always very temporary and it will always let you down because whatever it's offered you as a temporary reward doesn't last.
No, no, it's true.
So inspiration versus motivation, that's the
You
choice.
just, yeah, because most of your adult life, you're just trying to pay the bills and you're just striving, going to work, whatever. It's a bit like, God. And then what for when it comes to retirement? Just seems like I say,
Yeah, well,
it's
what
very
was the point of
strange.
all of it?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the truth is, in the ego's framework, there was no point. It was just to be a separate self, just to maintain the illusion of separation, to
Mm.
prevent you from awakening. That was what it was about. A
So you get,
deception,
yeah, you
a
get
massive
told,
lie of a life.
do your education, you save your money. Oh my goodness.
And for what purpose?
Yeah.
It's all false.
Mm.
I've never really, I mean, I'm very blessed that like my life took a course that at an early age I questioned all of that. And I was like, this
Mm.
doesn't really feel, I mean, even at seven, I remember I was 17. I'm about to leave school. I remember
Mm.
my headmaster in a kind of guide, we had something called guidance, so they would give you your kind of
Mm.
guidance on your future. In 5 minutes, he sat down. He said, "Right, so you good at this? You go, yeah. I think BCom LLB it was called, Bachelor of Commerce with a law degree." And he wrote it down, and he said, "Right, there you go. There's your life. Off you go." I was
Mm.
like, "Really? Seriously? You've just
Yeah.
given me my life path in 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Really?
Mm.
No, I don't like. You know what I mean? I just didn't buy it. I was like, how can you possibly know?
Mm.
You don't really know me. You don't know what I value. You don't, and I was going, what's the point?
Even at
So I'm
his
going to
young
do
as
all
that.
this, and I could make, and then I could already see then. Well, and then what? So you go through this whole career doing stuff you don't really want to do. Did I want to do BCom and
You've got
LB?
to,
Not really.
and then you've got to
And
go
then,
and do
and
these.
then you retire, and my dad was all about pension and stuff, so I could see that it's all
I
about your
know
pension. And then what's the point? So you got a
exactly.
pension, and then you hold, and then eventually you die. Like okay, like I
Yeah.
was already disillusioned. Like really. No. So like I took a different path. It was like, no, that doesn't inspire me at all.
No.
Um,
I can
and I'm very
understand.
glad I did because, I've learned a lot. in my 50 years, and I continue to do so. It's like, well, a life well spent is like, did you learn? Yes. Did you grow? Yes. Do you know who you are? Yes. Well, that's a successful life, isn't it?
Yeah,
No matter
yeah, yeah,
what's
yeah.
happened on the level of form, it's like at least you know who you are.
Yeah, oh yes, yeah, no, that's the ultimate, yeah. Yeah.
But in the worldly terms, it's like, well, what have you done? You know, you've done nothing. You haven't made money. You haven't got a career. You know, your family life is kind of fragmented. So what have you got? The world says you got nothing. But the spirit says, but you've got everything because you know who you are.
Absolutely, yeah. I
But
understand
you'll
that.
never reconcile them, will you? The,
No.
the, the, the different interpretations of the world will never reconcile. Because the ego says, no, 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 this is how it is. And what's valuable is all the worldly stuff and success as it defines it.
So you were
And the
young
spirit,
really to find this out, whereas I was obviously your typical, you know, middle age before I sort of really thought, God, what on earth is all this about? Yeah.
yeah,
So
well, I just say I'm blessed. I was very fortunate
you
that,
were
like,
young,
you know,
yes.
I suppose there was obviously something in me that was already awakening when I was younger.
When
You
you
know,
yeah.
but the way it played out was at a young age, I got exposed to some of these ideas. My sister got ill. She had something called ME. And so she would buy these books about the power of your subconscious mind and Think and
Oh
Grow
yeah.
Rich and
Yeah.
lots of them. So, and then she'd finish them, say, well, yeah, read. I'd go and chat to her, I remember, and she'd give me another book.
Right.
And then I was reading these things at 12, 13. I'm going, wow, this is amazing. This is inspiring. This is like my life could be whatever I want it to be. You can, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. Wow, I could be a world champion. I could be a billionaire. So at least it was, I mean, now I look back, it's like, okay, yeah, they were illusions. But
At
what it
least to
did
have
take
the
me, it took me in the direction of understanding that my mind had power, that I wasn't a victim of the world, that I could actually create my reality. So it was necessary. That's part of the awakening. And then, it took me to the point where I had to go through huge disillusionment because my egoic goals just hadn't happened. I was supposed to be the world champion by the age of whatever, 28, 29, and I was nowhere close. It just didn't happen. I didn't even get close to it. So then I was like, okay, well, so what's the deal then? I've believed this. I've really believed it. I've worked at it. I've visualized. I've affirmed. I've done and it hasn't happened. I'm not even close. So what? So what have I done wrong? Is it just me? Have I failed, or maybe what I considered was maybe the thought system was wrong, the philosophy was wrong,
mm, mm,
which was a really good lesson at 28, 29. I was like, okay, that whole construct of the ego and that your life is going to be worthwhile because of what you do is actually wrong. It took me a while to realize that. It doesn't just happen overnight, but there was a big letting go of all of that and an emptiness. It was like, okay, so I'm like essentially died before I died. At 29, it's like, it was a part of me, it's like my life's over because like this egoic goal isn't going to be achieved. And so now what do I do?
mm,
But slowly but surely the spirit started coming and go, okay, but actually, this is not the end, it's just the beginning.
mm,
And then you start reading and understanding what some of these ideas and awakening. It's like, wow, okay, I'm getting actually that was all illusion. What I thought would make my life worthwhile, being a champion squash player, this would give me an identity that was desirable, actually was an illusion. It would never have really satisfied me. Even if I'd achieved it, it still wouldn't have satisfied.
mm.
So I'm very grateful that I didn't, because it was like, okay, we'll just learn the lesson. If I'd achieved it, well, it would have been much harder to let go of it, wouldn't it? Oh, well, I've actually become the world champion,
Yeah.
and aren't
So
I
then you would have
just,
been
well, I mean, your
totally,
ego gets pumped up by that, doesn't it? Oh, well,
yeah.
I'm the best in the world and I can beat anyone else, and aren't I great? And everyone looks at me like, oh, he's good. And that's what your ego wants. That's why I wanted it. You realize it's like, because I wanted people to go, oh, Respect,
Yes.
man. He's really good. He's like that, top.
Mm-hmm.
The ego thinks, no, that's good. Then you strengthen. You have an identity. Your life has meaning.
So that would have
But
kept
it's
you in the
still,
dream longer.
oh, it would have absolutely, yeah. It would have been much harder to unwind from that. But like, okay, well, you just failed miserably. At least you get that over with, and you see very clearly that it actually, that whole thing would never have made you happy anyway. I never actually enjoyed the competitive aspect of it. I thought I did, but it's a hard, cold world. Like, okay, at the top level of sport, it's like win or lose. There's no quarter given or asked. There's no love. It's just like, okay, anything to win. And the higher it gets, and the higher the stakes get, the more that seems to be the case. Because everyone just, wants to win. So it's not a particularly nice world. So,
No.
I'm very blessed. I'm like, okay, well, I learned all this, and it helped me to let go at quite a young age. And then, at the age of like 30, I was primed for all this. I didn't have to wait till I was 50 or 60. It's like, okay, I was ready to start, I started reading the course when I was 33, which is
It's
quite
young.
young.
It is.
It is relatively young. I mean, there's people, David Hoffmeister started in his late 20s, but often it's unusual. So people
Yeah,
usually
it's
come to it
normally
late.
middle-aged, yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't, I was still young. And then all I did was I put the energy and the drive I had into this. I said, okay, well, I can learn this. Let me, focus on it. I understood that you needed to be disciplined because I'd, been a professional squash player. So you don't get anywhere without training and discipline. So I just, okay, well, I'm going to discipline myself. I'm going to do this. And I did the same thing with meditation, and I did the same thing with breath work. And it's like, okay, I'm starting to, to understand these things. And then the obvious thing is teach it. Well, you understand quite a lot. So why not, teach it and then make a business of it? And, and so my life, unfolded, and my purpose as a teacher of God was revealed from the ashes of the despair of the ego. Oh, you failed, you're useless. You're never going to make anything of your life because you've failed at this egoic goal. To like, no, actually, it's all perfect in its imperfection, because has helped me to awaken to who I really am, and that's the whole point. And everything I did in the squash time was perfect because it was all preparation. It was all spiritual practices that I was doing, even though I didn't know they were spiritual practices. I was learning breath work, meditation, diet, all this, clean living, diet, cut out alcohol, no drugs, no cigarettes, clean living. It was all spiritual practice. That's exactly what they say you should do to awaken, in the yogic teachings and stuff. So I was doing a lot of it, and then
Already. Yeah.
yeah, so it prepared me
Yeah.
for what was to come. And at the time, you don't know. I thought I was doing it for an egoic goal, but actually, it was all part of my awakening journey.
Mm.
So I'm just very grateful that it all happened that way.
Yeah.
And then it's perfect in its imperfection. Yeah, I wasn't a champion, but I was never meant to be that. There was a higher calling from, so I accept that. It's like, well, you're meant to be a teacher of God. That's the highest calling there is in this world. So that's your true destiny, and then things unfold accordingly to make that happen.
So you didn't get any insecurities during the sort of awakening period, just before?
Of course I did. It was so hard.
Oh, yes,
Massive.
sorry, you did mention, yes, you did,
Oh my
sorry.
God, what's going on? My life's deconstructing. I mean, I went through, late 20s. I went through that, like, okay, that's a massive letting go of everything that I'd valued for 15 years. I'd had this ego goal of being a world champion since I was about 12.
Steady. Okay, so it's
Yeah,
like,
and then so that's like 15 years, and then it's sort of late 20s, 28, 29. I was like, no, it's not going to happen. So that's a massive letting go already of, everything I'd valued for most of my adult life. Wow.
and you would,
Teenage life.
so you would feel like they're, anxious,
Well,
all
there
of
was a
these
kind of a sense of, like, well, what's the
are
point? Like,
lost.
yeah, I was a bit like empty and lost and like, what is the, like that was my ego goal. That was what made my life worthwhile. And then I had it all worked out. I was going to do that. And then my follow-on career, once I'd finished squash, would be a motivational speaker. Because then I could say, well, look, I've applied all this stuff and, I've succeeded. I was the world champion and I'd, be this hotshot speaker going around the world and
Well, you retired.
speaking in front of audiences and getting paid a fortune and all. I had it all worked out. But it all depended on me becoming the world champion. There was huge anxiety around that. I remember going, oh, what if I don't do it? My whole plan it was a very, very shaky foundation. So you want to be the number one in the world, right? You're the best person on the planet. You know what it takes to become the best on the planet
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
anything.
That's
Wow.
pressure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
big pressure.
it was all my own pressure. It was all my own self-created mind pressure.
Yeah.
So it was a relief actually when it was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. I remember sitting there and it was like, you know what? There's one day I still remember, and I'd lost to this guy. I played him in practice, and he was, he's a useful player, but he was nothing. He's not certainly not a world beater. He was like, I don't know, in the top 20 in South Africa, right? So that's like in top 20 in South Africa is not even top 20 in the world. He's nowhere near top 20 in the world. And I just lost to him. And I was like, you know what? You're 28 or 29 or whatever I was. You're kidding yourself. It's not going to happen. You just lost to this guy. And like, there's no way you've got enough. It's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then, there was depression and there was like, oh, what have you done all this for? And you failed. And, you go through all of this.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
But there was an emptiness. In the emptiness
that's what I'm getting, a
came
bit of emptiness where,
emptiness.
yeah,
Yeah.
built
But
all
that's
this
good.
work and built
Yeah.
your business up and all of that, and then you realize, well, it's going to finish shortly. So what was the point of all that?
But in the emptiness lies your awakening, because you go into
Mm,
the emptiness and it's like, well, who am I then? I'm none of these things. I'm not identified with the form anymore
mm.
because it's let me down. And the
Well,
emptiness arises. And
it's
in that
temporary, yeah.
emptiness, you start finding yourself. Okay, well, maybe I'm just the emptiness. That awareness is actually empty, but it's full. We use the word emptiness, but it's not really empty.
Well,
In
it's
in the
emptiness, but
emptiness is love, is peace, is joy, is everything
yeah,
that's truly fulfilling. It's just not form. It's not anything that you thought would fulfill you.
yeah, there's emptiness, but there's also a bit of anxiety as well. So
Yeah,
that's
but it's
obviously because of the fear of losing the ego. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
got that.
it's normal. It's
Yeah,
not an easy. This is why it's a hero's journey. It's not easy because you've got to
no,
go through these thoughts and emotions that are really
unpleasant.
challenging.
Mm,
Yeah, and
mm,
then I went to another phase. A few years later, maybe 10 years after that. No, about 15 years after that. Midlife
mm,
crisis. Like, okay, so I'm now in my 40s. I thought again, like I've created something out of the ashes of that previous, and it's okay, it's kind of working, and I'm now a spiritual teacher, and I've got a bit of an identity, and people are coming to my workshops, and then it's like, cool, that's all gone too. Just pulled away from me. And now I'm in England and I'm way out of my comfort zone, and I've got a little baby,
mm. That's hard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean having the baby. I mean just the
and I've got a wife
complete
who's
change.
after yeah,
A
just
complete
just I
change.
was like,
Yeah.
what is going on? What
Mm.
what is it all for? Should I even continue with this? I mean,
It's
I remember
total
just going, okay,
change.
well, just yeah, so much change. It was like rocked me. It was like
Mm.
traumatized.
Yeah.
But what it made me do was really start to go, okay, what do I have? I have the spiritual practices that I know. I know how to do breath work, meditation. I have A Course in Miracles. I need to practice these things. I need to apply them. It's no longer about just teaching and talking a good
The
game.
theoretic thing.
I have to apply this to my own life. That's the point. And I remember just like hours and hours. I'd go for walks. I just listen. I'd listen to the course and I'd listen and I'd practice and I'd do my workbook lessons, and I was like, okay, just got to, just focus to get through this.
Yeah.
And eventually you do. It took a few years, but
Yeah.
and then the inspiration was to do the art of letting go, because that was another part of the healing journey. It was like, okay, you're actually going to teach this, and by teaching it and immersing yourself in this process of building this course and facilitating and teaching it, you have to learn it to another level, like a whole nother level of learning it, because you have to in order to teach it on this level.
Oh yeah.
And so through all of the difficulty, there was grace, and there's a plan. It's the plan of the at-one-ment that's working out in your life and showing you, where you need to go and what you need to do and exactly where you need to be. And even when it all seems to be falling apart, that's actually when you're awakening. That's the point. It just doesn't feel like it at the time.
No,
Because the
no. Well,
ego's going, oh my God, what's going on? My world is
that's what
deconstructing, and I can't handle it. And
it's
it's
getting a
like,
bit like that for me now. Yes, I feel as though that's just work looks as though that's going to be going. Obviously, my husband's elderly. It all looks as though it's you can just sort of see it's going to be a big change.
But on the other side of it is awakening. On the other side, you go into the abyss. You're willing to go through this process. On the other side of it, of the death of the ego, is another life. This is the at-one-ment. This is now you come to know who you really are. You live in a different state of mind. You live in a different world, and you can be truly helpful to others. If I hadn't gone through what I'd gone through, I would not have been able to do what I've done with the art of letting go. No way.
No.
I wouldn't have had the awareness. I wouldn't have had the understanding. I couldn't have done it. Just no. So it allows you to then come back into the world at the end of the journey. You return, and now you can help others, be truly helpful. Be a mentor or a guide to others on their hero's journeys. And that's kind of the whole point. That's the interlocking chain of letting go, interlocking chain of miracles, as Yeshua calls it, that makes up the at-one-ment. So who knows what lies for you at the other side of this? You don't know, but just go through the process and let the spirit guide.
It's scary though. It's scary.
Yeah, it is, but if you can just go, okay, just go with it, Elaine. Just trust. On the other side of this,
Trust. That's the big one.
The world, yes, the illusory world that I value is deconstructing, but it was never real. That's the point. But on the other side of this lies a reborn Elaine in a new paradigm of reality, and who knows what that looks like. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You're only, in your early 60s, you could have another 20, 30 years of awakened life and helping others to awaken, however that looks. You don't know yet. You don't know what it's going to look like, but that's not your job. You just know that the Holy Spirit has got you, and it needs channels in this world to awaken to it and then to express and extend it in the world, and so it will guide you accordingly, and you become another channel of the Holy Spirit in expressing it in your own unique way. Okay, so what is Elaine's part of the at-one-ment process, at-one-ment journey?
Well, sometimes
that becomes your true purpose.
It's funny when I directly ask for guidance. Like today, I just was not in a good state, really. So I did ask for guidance, and I sat and waited, and nothing came. Whereas in other occasions, it's just spontaneous. But when you actually just, sometimes, I don't know whether it's because I was just too stressed or whatever it was, but it just said, right, can I give it over to you, guidance? And I waited and waited, and nothing came to me at that point. So that was interesting, because sometimes I can get it.
It doesn't always.
It's sometimes it's spontaneous, but it's not. It's more spontaneous. Whereas if you kind of deliberately do it, it doesn't always come. It's got to be more not forced. I think what's happened there is I've demanded it. I forced it,
Yeah.
and it just didn't happen. So I
Yeah.
realized that forcing and it doesn't come that way. No, not at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's a trusting. You go, okay, well, show me the way, but I'm trusting.
yeah,
Okay.
but
So
I'd put
in
it
your
in.
own time, when I need the guidance, when I need what I need, then it will come. That's what you learn to trust. When I really need it, it will come. And,
Exactly,
my
yeah,
journey has
spontaneous.
been everyone's journey, but, I can only speak from own experience. It's to learn to trust that. Okay. I've been in some
That's the
difficult
number one.
situations. Okay.
Number
But
one.
when I need an answer, when I need a solution, there's always something there. Something always comes up. There's always a way forward. I'm never without an answer, without guidance, without help, without support. And you learn, the more it happens, the more you learn to trust it and go, okay, well, that's always the case.
Oh yeah,
So,
no, it's been
okay,
many.
some another difficulty, but I'll just trust, and a way will come.
Yeah, the other times where it's worked for me, as I said, I haven't kind of forced it. It's just been a spontaneous. I haven't sort of directly went, right, show me. I'm leaving. It's more, the last ones have been more just natural. And with this one today, I obviously was forcing it and
Yeah,
nothing
well,
came.
show me because I'm desperate is not letting go, is it?
Yes, that's
There's
right.
a
That's where,
desperation energy. It's like, no,
yeah,
no, no, I really need an answer now. Well, that's the ego.
yeah,
It's like, no,
yeah, that's
it's
where I
fine. I'm
wasn't getting.
trusting. I'm trusting. I'm going to go with the flow, and in time, this will reveal itself. And if I'm completely trusting, then there's no stress.
Yeah,
There's no
whereas
sense of fear because I know that when I need the guidance will come,
that's
and
the way
I'll
to do
learn
it.
of that.
Whereas if you're forcing it or coming from the
Yeah,
ego, there's nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it's desperation energy, and
Desperation. That's right. Yeah,
desperation is fear, and that is always of the ego.
that's a
So.
block. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you're learning to understand the subtleties of this and go, okay, well, I need to have discernment to know what is true and what is false, what's coming from the ego, what's coming from the Holy Spirit, so that I can make the right choices, right-minded choices for the spirit, and let go of the ego. But if I don't recognize the difference between the two, then how do I make the choice?
mm,
So it's
yeah,
all learning. And relatively, I mean, Elaine, you're only a year and a bit into this, really.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
It's not a long time.
I think it's me going into the second year. I've put pressure on to say to myself, "Oh well, you've done a year. You should
Mm.
be, at
You
this
should be
level." Or
awakened already. Come on,
yeah,
get with it.
that's yeah,
You should get
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it
perfection
took
side of me. Yeah,
just to kind of make you feel a bit better. It took me about 10 years, Elaine, to really
mm,
understand what a miracle is.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. 10 years, because I didn't have anyone interpreting this for me, or I was just
No,
reading
no,
it, and I'd listen to, I mean, when 10 years ago, YouTube wasn't that big, was it? There weren't like hundreds
no,
of,
no, no, not at
YouTube
all.
started in about 2006. So it was like very still embryonic. It wasn't
It's
like,
yeah,
oh, well, I just go on YouTube and listen to, that's all happened in the last 10 years.
yeah, it has. Yeah, no, it's brilliant now. Yeah,
Brilliant. Yeah. So but the tools and resources weren't, there to the same
degree. Yeah,
extent. So it was largely
mm,
self-study. I'd listen, and I'd kind of, come to my own conclusions and reverse and return to love. And, those were helpful.
mm.
But it takes a long time, and it took a lot of experience. I had to go through my own journey to
Stuff.
really
Yeah,
understand it.
mm,
When I went through that sort of midlife crisis, that's when I really started understanding it.
mm.
And then there was another level. I went to the Vipassana retreat a couple
Oh
of
yeah,
years ago. It was like another level dropped in. It was like, oh my God, no, 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 I'm really getting it. I thought I got it before, but now I'm really getting it.
yeah,
And who knows, tomorrow I might go, oh my God, I've been asleep. I really get it now, because something else might.
mm, mm.
Another Satori moment, might come in. So
Yeah,
you just stay open,
yeah.
stay in the
Oh,
flow, stay open to these moments, and somehow life flows forward, and
Yeah.
there's a way.
That's good. Thank you for that.
So just it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's actually all good, because your ego needs to be undone. Your ego needs to die for you to be reborn. So that's what's happening, which is exceptionally good, because it's the ego that's the problem. Your only problem is that you have this false self-concept of an ego. One problem. Okay, get rid of the ego. Well, then there's no problem. As one of the Buddhist masters said, no self, no problem. If you don't have a separate self, then there can be no problem.
Oh, I get that conceptually, but yes, it's
Yeah.
just
Exactly. This is the hero's journey, because it's not conceptual, it's experiential. You have to live it. You have to journey through it in your life experience, and the teachings dovetail. So they give you an experience that actually helps you to understand this experientially on a deeper level than you can ever do intellectually. That's why it's the hero's journey, because you've got to live it. You've got to actually go through the tests, allies, enemies, approach the inner cave, go through the ordeal. You're heading towards that, the ordeal. That's why it's called an ordeal. It's not easy.
But
the ordeal is the death and the rebirth.
Yeah, the course is very helpful to make you understand these things, because I think we've all gone through this darkness, when you're 60 or whatever, you're going to have gone through some dark periods through your life. Whereas this course is helping to actually understand it, because you'll have gone through these dark patches and then got through it, but you've gone back into the old ways again, being a victim of the world again. Yeah. Whereas this is actually good, in as much as now there's another dark patch, here's the opportunity to
let's face all the darkness and get it over, and route it out of my mind, let it go entirely. So this doesn't have any hold in my mind anymore. That would then be the enlightened state. The ego's really died, then you can stay largely. I still have some ego thoughts, no doubt, but they're not. Before, you see, you think you are the ego. You're trying to awaken from it, but you think you are it. So you're so in it that you don't know you're in it. It's like you're in this fog of ego thought and emotion. I post it. There's an awareness of it. So even if the ego comes in, it's like, no, that's not correct. This higher awareness says no. That this becomes the evaluating awareness for all thoughts and emotions, and you just go no. And so it's got no real hold anymore, because you can just look at it and go, that's just,
you're coming from the awareness, the pure form.
That's just insane or ridiculous, or no, it's not. It's not real. I'm gonna. Yeah, it's not real, and I just can't buy that. Like, really? I just go to the ego. Really? Come on, you got to do better than that. Seriously. And so you kind of learn to laugh at it and go, okay, well, it's just utterly ridiculous. I can't believe that anymore. Whereas, pre-letting it's like, no, you believe those thoughts. You think those thoughts are you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, just bring it on, eh?
It's all good. It's all good, Elaine. You're on track. Your one-month journey is on track. Just keep trusting and carry on with the process.
Yeah.
And when it gets tough, that's when you dig in. You've got some grit. It's like dig in, go like, okay, I gotta get through this.
Yeah.
And I have a way, I have the teachings, I have a practice to help me and support me in getting through this. So I will.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great advantage. It's like you say, other dark patches in your life, you've just had to muddle through and then go back into the victim world again. Whereas at least with this, you've got an opportunity to see the reality rather than go back into being the victim of the world again. Yeah.
Well, this is why the ego is so worried. See, when the ego gets worried and really starts getting antsy and resisting, then okay, I'm on the right track here, because I'm actually undoing it, and it's getting very worried and it's fighting back for its life. Good. That's what you want. If the ego is comfortable, it's, oh no, Elaine's well under control, we're fine. And it's just, lurking in your subconscious. You're going through life comfortably numb. That's not
Yeah.
going to help you awaken. If you really
Well, in
want
the
to awaken,
past,
you've
any
got to
dark,
bring it up.
usually if you go through dark patches for whatever reasons, you may go and see a counselor or whatever modality. Whereas this is, much more realistic, isn't it? Because you're still going to be in the vicious circle. Even if you see a counselor, that still might help you for that incident, but it'll happen again.
Yeah,
Just,
unless the counselor understands the ultimate truth, that
oh
the
yeah,
entire
no, I'm talking,
world is an illusion, that your separate self is an illusion.
no, the ego
Which,
counselor, yeah, the ones that
yeah,
would just sort of be,
well,
if you're grieving or whatever it is that you're
yeah,
going to see a counselor for.
they try and help you through that situation and
Yes,
deal
yes,
with it. But actually, you've got to take the bigger view and say, well, look, let's look at the whole of your life, this world, the universe, and understand what's really going on, not just from your perspective as a limited separate self, but let's understand the whole picture. Unless they've studied the course or non-dual teaching, they probably don't understand it themselves. They don't teach
yeah.
this stuff at
No,
universities.
no,
No way.
no. Yeah, no. If you've ever gone to a counselor, you don't get any of this. It's just practical
No.
stuff.
Yeah, because they're still working within the ego construct. Okay, well, you've got a problem. They still assume you are a separate self. Okay, so now within the construct of the separate self, which they take for granted, assume that that's real. Okay, how do we help you? This says
Yeah,
no, 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 no. Let's go to first principles here.
yeah. It's
Let's
very different.
consider whether you even are a separate self, whether you even are human. Let's go there.
Yeah, no, this is
Because
totally
if that
different.
premise is false, then everything else is false. And then you can't really heal within the false construct. As Einstein said, significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. Very, very profound quote. In other words, in the idea of separation, this level of separation, you can't solve the problem. The problems of separation can only be solved by going outside of the thought system of separation. Kind of obviously, surely, of course, logically, if you
Yeah.
look at it, yeah, well, of course, you're not going to solve the problems created by the idea of separation unless you transcend the idea itself of separation. Well,
That's where
yes.
yeah, this is where we all get caught up, don't we? Because obviously I was trying to solve my problem this afternoon and demanding guidance should come to me, but I was solving it in the mindset that I was already in.
Exactly.
So
Within
it
the
was going
framework of
round,
the
it's,
ego.
yeah, and it was
I'm a
just,
separate self. I don't want to suffer. I want my hands to be fixed or whatever other problems to go. Okay, help me. Help me, separate self, to live a better life. No, 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 no. Because you're not a separate self. So
yeah,
you got to look at the separate self and go, no, none of those thoughts, emotions, desires, attachments, none of that is true because I'm not a separate self. That's the answer. And then that all collapses. And what remains is your true self, which can then, by the grace of God, inspire you to actually speak and act in inspired ways that really help you in the dream. So
it's just a
the Holy
totally
Spirit
different
is the
approach.
mechanism of translating pure formless awareness of perfect love into some very helpful guidance in this world. Okay, well, Elaine, you can do this, say this, do this, go there, whatever, to help you to awaken, right, and to solve the problem. That's why the Holy Spirit's so important, because it's the interpreter, it's the bridge between the worlds. Otherwise, you'd be like, well, there's no hope here because I can't access pure formless awareness of perfect love. I've divorced myself from it. It's now separated from me, and there's no bridge, there's no way back to it. And I can't get guidance in my life from this because it's completely removed from this world, completely opposite to the thought system of separation that has made this world. But by the grace of God, there's this Holy Spirit in our minds that can somehow interpret this pure formless awareness of perfect love, ultimate reality, and it can interpret it into our life in duality in this world and help us with practical life situations and decisions we have to make in a miraculous way. That's enormously helpful to us and to ultimately awakening to fully to this pure formless awareness of perfect love and accepting it, that it is us, that this awareness is us and there's nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a more permanent fix is the wrong word, but yeah, whereas the therapies and the counseling and all the psychiatrists, it's only temporary, really. It'll just help that particular ego problem until the next one comes.
Yeah. If it's not coming from the perspective of oneness and of truly letting go of the ego, then it's magic. It's not really going to help.
It's a temporary fix.
Yes. But it hasn't solved the problem of separation. That's the problem.
Yeah.
One problem and one solution. Your problem is you think you're a separate self. The solution is to undo that belief. One problem, one solution. It's very simple. It doesn't matter how the problem looks. It can look like, oh, well, I've got a physical, problem, physical ailment. It can look like problems, financial problems, could look like relationship problems, could look like sickness, could look like death. Doesn't matter. It's the same problem. Always. This is what Yeshua's training us to see. So all I've got to do is let go of my separate self in that situation, not interpret it to my separate self, and then I've undone the problem, which is the idea that I'm a separate self. Conceptually very easy, isn't it? Okay, I can do that. Yeah, but then when the problem arises and you attach to it and there's all this thoughts and emotion
and it's the
that is
feelings,
attached to you,
the hardest ones. Yeah.
Okay, now how do I get rid of that sticky feeling that I'm attached and I need this and like I just can't seem to let it go.
Yeah,
that's the work.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very simple teaching, this, but it's the hardest thing you will ever do to learn it.
Yeah.
Although it's so simple. It's the most difficult thing you'll ever do because it's undoing your separate self, which you thought was you, and everything that entails, and then the entire world, your entire reality. Everything you think is real here, gone. Poof, pop. That doesn't rock your world a bit. It's like, whoa, really? That's radical. The ego starts getting worried when this level of comes, because it knows that it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to just relish it and go, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's bring it on. Let's get it done. Because I'm tired of waiting and I'm tired of being scared of the ego and just hanging around in this ridiculous thought system where I'm just kind of a low grade level of suffering. I'm tired of that. It's enough. I want ultimate freedom. I want pure formless awareness of perfect love and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you very much.
It's all good. You're on track.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes.
As I say, you're on your hero's journey, and you just got to keep going.
Yeah, I shall do.
The heroes of this world, they don't give up.
Trust.
You trust the process. You keep going, and you know that somehow you'll find a way through the difficulties, not by your power, but by the power of God.
That's exactly it. Because
through this.
My power is just like, oh, well, you don't trust because obviously from a child you had to look after yourself. You didn't get much care. So it goes into all of that. So it's just an impossible thought system. It just keeps, you're on a merry goose chase.
Your ego can't help you awaken.
No,
it's the point. It's going to resist. It's going to fight your awakening tooth and nail.
It's just finding any excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to realize, well, I can't do this on my own as my little self. I can't
No.
do this. I can't awaken as an ego. I have to let that go.
Yeah, it's a hard lesson. It's a hard
Yeah.
lesson because obviously, as I was
Your
saying
whole
to you,
life you've been going, oh no, I can do this. Elaine
I'm
can
in
do this.
control.
Elaine can be
Yeah.
in control.
Yeah. I've
It's
always
like,
had to look
no,
after
you
myself. Yeah.
can't awaken and hold on to that ego that wants to control. It's not possible.
It's no, because I've tried and you just vicious circle. Just going
Impossible.
round
The
in
ego can
circles.
never awaken. The ego can
No.
only be undone in your awareness. The Holy Spirit can help you to become aware that the ego is simply really not real. Its entire thought system is unreal, and those thoughts just fade away. The thoughts and emotions just fade away into nothingness. They cease to exist. And so it's undone. That's the answer.
Yeah.
But you will never hold on to your ego and awaken, because the ego, by definition, blocks your awakening.
Yeah. Well, I'm at
The
the
ego is
moment.
the opposite of awakening.
Yeah, I'm making the mistake of just trying to get the help from the good old ego, which at the moment it's just going round in
That
circles.
old ego, yeah. But just and you never will. And so you see the impossible. It's impossible. You'll never
It
awaken.
Yeah, no, you're not in
You
the.
just frustrate yourself and end
That's
this.
where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so now you know. Okay, well, the only answer is to let that go. Say, I am not in charge of my awakening. I actually have no idea. I don't really understand anything, but I am willing to just let go and completely trust the guidance.
Yeah.
Okay, show me. I don't know. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know anything anymore. I thought I knew, but I don't. So you show me.
I've tried. So, and it's, yeah.
You try and you
It's
try and you fail, and you fail continuously. And the lesson is, okay, we'll stop trying. Can you see
the
the
ego
problem?
thought is
Continuing to try within the ego's construct, you're never going to get there. It's like
impossible.
beating your
Yeah.
head
Well,
against a
just,
brick wall. Okay, bang, and then you go, oh no, the problem is the wall. The wall's the problem, not me. So let me bang it again. Oh, no, I'm hurting. No, but the wall's the problem. No, the problem is you banging your head against the wall, so you can change that. The wall is the wall. That's a given. That's not going to change. But you can change your mind. You go, okay, I don't need to. I can just walk around the wall. Because actually, if I just take a couple of steps to the side and I stop trying to solve the problem with my ego, which is incredibly thick. The ego is thick.
yeah.
Stupid.
It just, yeah.
It's like, bang. Oh, just do it again. Bang. No, you bleed.
Yeah.
No, never mind. It'll work this time. Bang. And we do it over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, you're just sort of
You're
looking
bleeding and you're suffering, and then you blame the ego. Says, no, the wall's the problem. It's not you. It's the wall that's doing it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the wall analogy, I'm just,
Well,
I use it
it's
to
true.
illustrate the
Yeah.
point.
No, I do get what you're
But
saying.
that's
Yeah.
kind of what we're doing in our lives. Okay, I'll just repeatedly bang my head against the wall of the world, and then I'll blame the world and say, no, it's not me, it's the world's fault that I'm suffering. When actually we're doing it to ourselves. And the honesty that we have to come to is like, okay, I'm doing this to myself. No one else is
I
doing
can
it
see
to me.
that. Yeah. And you just repeat the same old cycle.
Yeah.
Let's have a look on Google. It's all just the same old stuff going round in circles, and it just, it just has you on a merry goose chase.
Yeah, because it doesn't want you to find the answer. Seek and do not find. That's the ego's mantra. You look and you look and you find the answer because you're looking in the wrong place. You're looking outside of yourself when the answer lies within you.
Yeah.
Isn't that ingenious? It gets you to look in the wrong place. You'll never find the answer.
Well, you're just looking for magic, aren't you?
It convinces you that there is no.
Yeah, it just gives you, like you say, magic. Maybe there's a special book you could read, or look on Google
Yeah.
or oh,
Look on Google. Oh, there's a magic potion. Someone's come up with an amazing solution.
yes, yeah.
But there is no, the only answer is to let go of your belief in a separate self and the world that it's created.
Mm.
So anything in form you recognize is illusion. It's not going to help you. The only thing that's going to help you is to change your mind about the world. Realize who you really are.
Yeah, it is. I agree, because we've all been there 60 years or so on down the
Yeah.
line, and it's the same old.
Same
Yeah,
old. Okay, so like,
yeah.
let's change the game. Let's not rely on anything in form anymore. Let's go into the thought system. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? This is
Mhm.
this is where the true change or the miracle happens. The correction of mind happens when I am willing to look at my thoughts and emotions honestly, and if they're out of alignment with truth, correct them. So no, those thoughts and those emotions, I can let them go, and that's the answer. That's where the true miracle happens in our minds. The correction happens here, and then that may reflect in the external world, but that's just a reflection of the interior.
Oh yeah, because sometimes a little bit of magic, it's, can be helpful, of course. A lotion or a potion or whatever, or a
But
supplement or
try
whatever.
and try and do the work on this level.
Yeah.
Even if you use that, go, I understand that that's not the answer. Right? It's not the answer to my problem. The answer lies in my mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. No, it's
So I'll
definitely.
use it, but understanding that this is not really the answer. This is just a temporary palliative. Yeah, I'll use a bit of lotion. I've got a skin, whatever, or something. Okay, fine. But don't think that that's really going to solve your problem.
No, no. Yeah.
So the problem is overall, the problem behind every pain, every suffering, every bit of sickness and death you've ever experienced is the idea that you're a separate self. That's the problem. That's what needs to be healed.
Perceptional
Correct.
problem, yeah. As
Yeah, you have a
David
perceptual problem.
Hoffmeister, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have
He always,
a false self-concept that has a perceptual problem. That self-concept perceives incorrectly all the time. Perceives everything incorrectly because it is false. So of course it's going to perceive incorrectly if it's simply not true. That's why you have a perceptual problem.
yeah.
So the answer is to collapse the entire dream, the objective world, the world of the body and time and space and all of this. Realize that none of this is true, and you'll never find an answer here. Because this is
No.
not cause, this is effect. The external world is the effect of the thoughts and emotions that happen in the interior subjective self. So that's where the correction needs to happen, in your own thoughts, your own emotions, and therefore your own perceptions. That's where the correction happens, and nowhere else, because the internal creates the external, not vice versa. And eventually you collapse all belief in the external, and you acknowledge that this is primary. Only my thoughts and emotions matter. There's actually nothing else. Nothing else really exists. Just pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is perfect love, perfect peace, perfect joy, perfect bliss. That's all that really is true. The other thoughts and emotions and memories and states of mind and perceptions and immediate sensations are all false.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, then you're free, because you will no longer value the material body, the brain, form. You realize they're all illusion. They don't even really exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
well,
if
just
it's
trust.
it's the
Trust,
trust. That's the big one that I've
trust
been.
that but it's inevitable. It's inevitable that you will get there, like,
Yeah.
because that's the guarantee of God. It's like you will return your mind ultimately to pure formless awareness of perfect love, because you have to, because that's true reality and nothing else
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is real.
Good.
So eventually, one way or another, you are going to get there. You're now on a path of quickening it. Comes a point where it's like, hey, you can really speed this up, and you could do this in one lifetime, finish the job in this lifetime. Well, why wouldn't you?
Mm.
Why
Well,
wouldn't
yeah,
you want to do
that would be the aim. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just the aim, it's a done deal. Stan, this has come into your awareness for a reason. This course is here because this is your path to that full awakening. So just trust that.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm.
It's all okay. And
Yeah,
when it seems like it's not okay, it is okay, because that's part of the awakening.
it's watching those sort of typical ego thoughts, isn't it? And just like a river, I've got to let them just pass and know they're not real. And that's it.
Mm,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but
No.
that's the practice. As they come up, you look at them and you use the tools. You use the lessons, you use the 10-step process, you use the advanced letting go techniques, you use the instrument for peace, whatever, or combination of it to help you let it go. You can do that. It's not complex.
No.
Just
Just do
just
it. Yeah.
system of doing it. Just do it. You've got the tools, apply them, and you can't fail. All right. So, well, it's a long discussion, but it's been really good. I think
Oh,
we've
yeah, no,
gone deep.
very helpful. Yeah, no, thank you.
So, and now 9:30. Do you want to do some practice of the lesson? I reviewed
We'll
the
do,
first 4 exercises the other day. It's just you. So
just do the lesson.
I was actually gonna go through the 10-step letting go process
Right.
tonight. What's your timing like? Do you need to go soon?
Well, I don't want to have too late a night because I had a bad night last night, and so I don't, and I've got work tomorrow. I've got a few massages in the morning, so I wouldn't want to have it too late a night. So really just,
Okay, so why don't we practice the lesson and do a meditation and we'll close it
yeah,
out.
that would be perfect. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's have a look at today's lesson. Okay, so this is lesson number 7. You can read that in the original and the alternative, the headline idea.
Yeah. I see only the past. I perceive only the past.
Because really, when he's talking about seeing, he's actually talking about a function of mind. It's not your physical eyes. No one can see the past, evidently, with their physical eyes.
No.
So I perceive only the past is probably more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then read the first paragraph.
This idea is particularly difficult to believe at first, yet it is the rationale for all of the preceding ones. It is the reason why nothing that you see means anything. It is the reason why you have given everything you see all the meaning it has for you. It is the reason why you do not understand anything you see. It is the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything and why they are like the things you see. It is the reason why you are never upset for the reason you think. It is the reason why you are upset because you see, in brackets, perceive, something that is not there.
Okay. So what's he saying here?
Well, it's just going through all the lessons that we've just been through, isn't it? Sort of, basically, we're just seeing something that is an illusion, that isn't even there. It's just...
So let's look at it, each one. It's why is it the reason I see only the past, or I perceive only the past? Why is that the reason why nothing that you see means anything?
Well, because it's all an illusion. It's all the same, where it's all one. We've just given it a name, but it's actually meaningless.
It doesn't mean anything if I'm seeing the past. It's not even there, right? I'm seeing an illusion.
Yeah.
Past isn't real. The past is just a figment of my imagination. Or it's a memory. So if I'm only seeing the past, so what he's saying is we only perceive based on our past experience. So am I really seeing or perceiving correctly then if it's just based on my past experience? A past experience which in truth never really happened.
Yeah.
Well, how can anything that I perceive then really mean anything if I'm only perceiving it from my past experience?
Yeah.
Which is illusory, a past that never really happened, a dream that never really happened. Now I have a memory of a dream that never really happened, and the memory is what's influencing my current perception. So how can my current perception be real or meaningful if the past on which it's based is not even there? It's false. This is why it doesn't mean anything. It's the reason why you've given everything you see all the meaning that it has for you. Right? My past, my past conditioning, my story, my history has given the world the meaning that I've given it. It's a construct. It's just a past conditioned mind, which actually has nothing to do with the present or what's actually true now. So I don't really understand anything. If I'm understanding everything from a past perspective, a past which isn't even real, then how am I actually understanding anything I see or I perceive? I'm not, am I?
Yeah.
It's the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything.
Yeah, but we get
They
caught
are
up in
like
it.
the things you see.
Yeah. It's amazing how
So
we
now I'm
believe
thinking
it.
based on my past conditioning, and all of my thoughts don't really mean anything because they're just based on a past that is false and never really happened. And then I look out on the things that I see here and I interpret them from this past, the same, past conditioned program that is false and illusory. So how then does that mean anything if it's all false?
Yeah, but we get caught up in it though, don't we? We believe all the falsity and...
We do, but these thoughts cut through it and say, well, why? If it's all past conditioning and none of that's true, then how can you believe any of it? Your mind is telling you is just more illusion. It's the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything, why they're like the things you see. It's the reason why you're never upset for the reason you think. So you're upset because what seems to happen now is violating your expectations based on your past. You only have those expectations because of your past experience and your conditioning.
Yeah, it's true.
So are you upset for the reason you think? No, you're upset because of your past, which isn't even real again. The expectations that come from that past are unreal. So the reason why you're upset, because you see or perceive something that is not there. You're upset because you see something that is not there. You're seeing a past in the situation that is not even there. It's just an illusion. It's a figment of your mind, a memory. It never really happened. So how can that be real? How can that be the basis of anything real? So you see really what is not there based on your past. You've projected out what is false, and now you see or perceive it falsely. So you see why this idea frames all of these and says, okay, well, this is why these ideas are true. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So number 2 then.
Old ideas about time are very difficult to change because everything you believe is rooted in time and depends on your not learning these new ideas about it. Yet that is precisely why you need now new ideas about time. The first time idea is not really so strange as it may sound at first.
Okay, so what's he saying here?
Well, just that we're so conditioned to be rooted in time. All our old ideas are very difficult to change because of that. So this is why we need new ideas about time.
If you assume that your past is real, that everything that happened to you is real, and this experience you've had that you call your life is real, then you see how caught up you are. You're bound to that idea. And you're bound to have expectations based on that illusion of a past that are false. This is why you need new ideas about time. So then he goes to illustrate. So look at a cup. Okay, so I'll guide you through this. Look at, if you've got a cup around, or
Yeah, or a glass, yeah.
look at a cup or glass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you see the cup really, or are you just reviewing your past experiences of picking up a cup, being thirsty, drinking from a cup, feeling the rim of a cup against your lips, having breakfast, and so on? Or not your aesthetic reactions to the cup too, based on past experiences? How else would you know whether or not this kind of cup will break if you drop it? You know from past experience. You've done it in the past, drops, it breaks. Okay, so that's how you know the cup will break.
Yeah.
If it's a plastic cup, then you know it won't break. Well, what tells you that? Your past experience. What do you know about this cup except what you learned in the past?
So that's when it's useful, isn't it, then? To know.
Well, it's useful on one level, isn't it? Practically.
Yeah.
Practically useful, but the problem is this thought system enslaves you. Because now you believe your past experiences. You think your past is real.
No, because of these examples.
Well, okay, it seems
Well,
if I drop the cup, it happened in the past, I drop it again, it's likely to break again. Okay, well, that's now becomes fixed in my mind. I believe this is real, and I start to believe in the laws of time and space, and I start to believe in the laws of this world and not the laws of eternity. So it's insidious. Yes, on a practical level, you're going to use a cup, you're going to drink from a cup, your past experience informs you. But what he's doing here is he's trying to break our attachment to that whole thought system. What do you know about this cup except what you learned in the past? You would have no idea what this cup is except for your past learning. Would you? I mean, how would you know what a cup is unless you learned what a cup is and you'd used one before?
Well,
If you
that's
saw
right.
it for the first time, you go, this is what babies do. They look and they have no idea what the cup is. They don't know what it's for. And so they're like,
Yes.
then they see it being used and they learn, okay, you put water in the cup or liquid in the cup and then you drink. Okay, now they've learned the cup is. Oh, and then I drop the cup and it breaks. Okay, then I know that it breaks. So it's all based on your past conditioning, your past learning. So do you then really see it? Are you really seeing what's presently there, or are you just seeing what you perceive it to be based on your past experience? That's the question.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's what he's trying to, with this simple exercise, to show us that it's based on our conditioning and our past experience. So then look about you, and he's saying this is equally true of whatever you look at. Doesn't matter what you look at. It could be a cup, it could be a table, it could be a mobile phone, it could be a wall, it could be a person, it could be a dog, cat, it could be anything. Equally true of whatever you look at. So apply this idea indiscriminately to whatever catches your eye. So look around, say, I see or perceive only the past in this pencil. If you've got a pencil, look at a pencil. Perceive only the past in the shoe, look at your shoe. I perceive only the past in this hand, look at your hand. How do I know what my hand is, what it can do? Well, because I've had a hand my whole life, so I kind of understand based on my past experience what my hand is and what it can do and what it's for. I perceive only the past in that body. If there's another body, if Dave's around, look at that, or the dog body, look, perceive only the past there. Look at Patty. Good
Yeah.
exercise. Look.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you see in that?
Just a sleeping dog.
No, but you perceive a past there. Your
Oh, I
past
see. Yeah, yeah,
history,
yes,
the
yeah.
story. You see 15 years of experiences, and oh, now she's going to die. Oh, now I can lose, and so I perceive only the past in that body. I interpret it from my own past experience.
Yeah. That's, yeah. So I've now got to just see her as just a neutral, same as the lamp and the clock.
Yeah, because her form is as illusory.
Yeah.
The form will not last, whether it's organic or inorganic, it doesn't matter. So none of these simple exercises are there to teach you that the past isn't everything you perceive. It's what creates your perception of everything, but it's not ultimately true. So just don't linger on any one thing in particular. Remember to omit nothing specifically. Just glance briefly at each subject and then move on to the next. And a part of your mind, like, well, why am I doing this? But understand what he's doing each lesson is he's just undoing another part of the ego thought system. another chink in the armor is gone every time you do an exercise like this. Okay, so any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that's clear. Yeah, that's
Okay,
practice.
yeah, it's good practice. So we've kind of practiced it. We could do let's do a short meditation with your eyes
Yeah,
closed on it. So
yeah.
close our session, 10 minutes. Okay, so just close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Connect with your breath. Blow your stomach out, the balloon, clenching your sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. All the energy up your spine, squeeze the sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Pull it up the spine. Into your heart center. Breathing in again, feel like you're drawing this warm, loving energy, purely present into the heart center. Another sip of air in, draw it all the way up. Back of your head into the crown of your head. And now just look inward. Look at any source of pain in your life. You mentioned your hands, you mentioned dog getting old, just look at that. Bring it to mind. Can you see that what you're perceiving is all false? Any negativity, any pain, any suffering. It's there too. Only because you believe in the past, you're interpreting this. I perceive only the past. And the past isn't real. The past is just conditioning based on an illusion. The world is an illusion, so the past never really happened. I'm basing my present moment decisions and experience on a past that never really happened. And if you can really see that, you can let it go now. Breathe in this purely present moment awareness, pure presence. Now, without reference to the past or the future. Breathe that into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. You can just let go of the past, the story, the history, all of it doesn't exist right now in the present. Exhale and just blow it out. It's just like a dark cloud or black smoke leaving you. It's going, gone, being wiped away to reveal just the clear blue sky. This is pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is the sun, the source shining through your mind into. So just blow it all away. Blow it away with the breeze of your breath and just rest in the clear blue sky. The light shining through presently. There's no past, there's no future, there's just pure present moment. Pure present moment awareness. Rest in the blue sky rather than the clouds which show the past. And you see that there's no reality at all in the clouds. It's not you're caught up in the cloud patterns, there's no reality. The only reality that's eternal, it doesn't change, is the blue sky. It's your pure formless awareness of perfect love, the source. It's like the sun shining through that blue sky, streaming through it eternally. So you can just rest for a minute or two of deep silence in this clear blue sky that is purely present. There's no thought of the past. Clouds are gone of the past. You just experience in the present moment, this deep peace, stillness. When you sink inwards and you go into that stillness and that peace, you can call the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. It is purely present. There is no past. And just witness this into the pure present moment awareness. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still, and surrender into this pure present moment awareness for a couple of minutes of deep silence. Any thoughts come up that seemingly disturb this, just remind yourself that I'm seeing or perceiving only the past in this. My disturbance is based only on my past conditioning, so I'm already seeing it. It's just past conditioning. So you just let go, breathe in the light and this pure formless awareness of perfect love, like the blue sky. And you just blow out anything else. Blow out the clouds of the past. They are not real. They cannot sustain against perfect, pure formless awareness, perfect love. So just sink inwards as you've blown it out, sink into so just rest in this deep peace. It's purely present peace that surpasses all understanding, that only comes from the present moment for another minute or so of deep silence. So now just gently coming back to an awareness of the body and the breath, senses in the world. And on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And just pause at the top of the inhale and smile. Just get on your mind, noticing thoughts, emotions, related body sensations going on. If there's anything that's untoward, remind yourself that you're just perceiving the past in this situation. So anything that's disturbing your peace in any way, just let it go. Exhale on the count of 2, blowing it out, letting it go with the breeze of your breath. It's going, gone. The dark cloud leaving you to the nothingness that it really is. Just rest. Notice on the count of 2, the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling. Your hands and touching, maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth, smelling nose, and notice what you're hearing. So you're purely present in this awareness. There's no past, it's just pure presence, pure awareness now. And count to 3, you're going to open your eyes and just look around in this awareness. For a minute, just ground yourself back into this world. Noticing everything with awareness. It's purely present, no thoughts of the past, no conditioned mind. Just look and you see the essence of awareness. Your awareness is in everything and everyone. There is only this awareness that underlies all things. And so you anchor this nice, calm, peaceful, non-attached state in, carry this awareness with you for the rest of the evening and on into tomorrow and your week ahead. Just commit to staying purely present. Present moment. There's no past conditioning, no story. senses have been stripped of all meaning that they previously had. And so it is. Stay in this pure awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love in the present moment for the rest of the evening and on into the rest of your week. And so it is. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. So, Elaine, do you want to call it a night?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I've got work in the morning, so I'd better
Oh.
try and go and get some rest.
Okay. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, I hope. So we're going to do an evening session. That we could do an afternoon, I suppose. What's your day like?
Could do an afternoon. I've got work in the morning. I've got 2 massages in the morning, so I'll be back by 1 o'clock.
Okay.
That's if that's okay for you. Yeah. That's
1
good.
o'clock.
1 o'clock. Yeah, that's good. And thanks very much. That was very helpful today. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, only a pleasure. It was a
I'll
good
keep
chat.
that recording because so I'll keep that recording of the expression session so I can remind myself every time I get a mind attack. Yeah.
Yep.
So
It's been posted to the group. So
yeah,
you can
that's
save
great.
it. You
No,
can
really
save it to save messages in Telegram. Forward it to save messages, and then it saves it.
Yeah, no, I shall do that. Yeah, no, that's very helpful. Thank you very much. So see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Yeah. Okay. Namaste.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now. All right, so I think let's just look at is okay, so this is the function of the miracle worker. Just quite short, actually. There's about 8 principles here. These are the special principles of miracle workers. Alternatively, special principles of correction makers, we call it, instead of miracle workers, which is section 5A of chapter 2 of the text. So I'll just read it in the original and alternative. So the miracle or the corrections abolish the need for lower order concerns. Since the miracle, or they, corrections are an outer pattern time interval, the ordinary considerations of time and space do not apply. When you perform a miracle, when I make a correction, it just says I will arrange both time and space to adjust to it. It's like that it is. Yes, sure, I will arrange both time and space to adjust to it. So what's he saying here? Corrections just are out of time and space. They don't obey the normal considerations or laws. So when I make a correction, then I'm calling on laws that are transcendent of time and space, and Yeshua will arrange both time and space to adjust to it. So whatever needs to happen in time and space can happen. I've had a couple of experiences where just the laws of time and space are violated. Coins just manifesting in my wallet how did that happen? And a course book, actually, A Course in Miracles, somehow making it into the boot of my car when it was in a school hall, and the car was locked and the keys were locked away. So these kinds of things can happen. Time and space gets adjusted to the correction. In both instances, I'd had quite profound realizations and inner shifts, and then time and space and the external is just there to confirm that. There's a clear distinction between what is created and what is made is essential. Or making a clear distinction between what is extended and what is made is essential. All forms of healing rest on this fundamental correction and level perception. All forms of healing rest on this fundamental correction and level perception. So can't confuse illusion and the truth. If I want to look at the levels of mind in the Holy Trinity, level 1 is the level of absolute truth. And then you've got level 2, the level of all experiences in physical universe of time and space. And they don't really reconcile. I need to choose which one I'm going to believe in. What is created? Creation is pure form, source, perfect love coming from God. What is made is essential. I've made up an illusion based on a false idea of separation. That's what I've made. All forms of healing rest on this fundamental correction and level perception. Yes, so I heal when I see that this world and all of its people, places, events, and circumstances is not real. I perceive that clearly, so I don't make any of it real. So I raise myself up out of the one level of falsehood into the level of truth, and I do that via my true self perceiving the illusions correctly. That is the letting go methodology. So never confuse. Number 3, never confuse right and wrong-mindedness. Responding to any form of error with anything except a desire to heal is an expression of this confusion. So I should never confuse right-mindedness and wrong-mindedness. Never confuse right-mindedness and wrong-mindedness. Responding to any form of error with anything except a desire to heal is an expression of this confusion. So if there's any wrong-mindedness, the only true desire should be to heal it. Miracle is always a denial of this error and an affirmation of the truth. Correction is always a denial of this error and an affirmation of the truth. The error is confusing right and wrong-mindedness. In other words, confusing the thought systems. Only right-mindedness can correct in a way that has any real effect. Pragmatically, what has no real effect has no real existence. So effect then is emptiness. Being without substantial content, it lends itself to projection. So because it's an illusion, it's not true, it doesn't have any true content, it's empty, then we project. Emptiness projects out into an illusion, creates an illusory world, but there's no substance to it, there's no fundamental content. So the world then it's false, it's empty, it's hollow, and cannot ever satisfy us. Correction is just deny that this world is true. So the level adjustment power of the miracle induces the right perception for healing. Level adjustment power of corrections induces the right perception for healing. So we correct, go to the levels. The correction corrects the level at which our perception is at. It says, if you think you're in time and space in a separate self, you're wrong. It's false. You can actually let this go because none of it's true. And you can become true self again. So it corrects on the, adjusts the levels. So induces the right perception for healing. Remember, healing is this process of changing your mind, of correcting your perceptions and identifying more and more with your true self rather than the false self. So all this has occurred. I cannot understand healing. So letting go is an empty gesture. Forgiveness is an empty gesture unless it entails correction. Letting go is an empty gesture unless it entails correction. Without this, it is essentially judgmental rather than healing. So I must correct. That's why we translate miracles as correction. I must correct my mind, my thought system. Otherwise, I'm essentially judgmental rather than healing. I'm just judging things from my past perspective as an ego. So there's no real healing in that. Only when I'm willing to let go of like judgments based on the past and I just correct my mind and I raise my mind up above the battleground of time and space into an awareness of my true self, of Christ, which is just derived from pure formless awareness, perfect love. So I'm starting to elevate myself and my perception, go into my true self, which is a mezzanine level, intermediate level, pure formless awareness and perfect love. So miracle-minded forgiveness is only correction. There's no element of judgment at all. Correction-minded letting go. Correction-minded letting go is only correction. There's no element of condemnatory judgment at all. Statement, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It's one of the most famous lines on the cross. Yeshua spoke. In no way evaluates what they do. It doesn't say this what they do is bad, evil. The implication is it's perfect. It's not in alignment with God. It's just an appeal to pure formless awareness of perfect love to heal their minds. There's no reference to the outcome of the error. That does not matter. So we simply appeal in the present moment to pure formless awareness, without reference to the past, the outcome, story, and we ask for healing. So an injunction, be of one mind, is a statement for revelation readiness. My request from by himself as Yeshua. Yeshua's request. So an injunction, be of one mind, is a statement for revelation readiness. My request to this remembrance of me is the appeal for cooperation for miracle workers. Yeshua's request to this in the remembrance of me. Yeshua's request to this in the remembrance of me is the appeal for cooperation for correction makers. To do this injunction be of one mind. It's a statement for revelation readiness. Yeshua's request to use remembrance of me as the appeal for cooperation from correction makers or miracle workers. Two statements are not in the same order of reality. Only the latter involves an awareness of time, since to remember is to recall the past and the present. Only the latter involves an awareness of time, since to remember is to recall the past and the present. Time is under the direction of my true self, but eternity belongs to pure form, signs, perfect love. Time is under the direction of my true self. Eternity belongs to pure form, signs, perfect love. So in time, we coexist, exist for with each other. Eternity, we coexist. Pure form, signs, perfect love. So it's contrasting the time-based reality with eternity. So in time we exist for and with each other, but in eternity we coexist. Pure form of soul is a perfect love. Beautiful idea. So in time we have interactions, relationships, but eternity we simply merge back into pure form of soul as perfect love and become one with it. So you can do much on your behalf of your own healing and that of others if in a situation calling for help. And I think of it in this way. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent the pure form of soul. What is the perfect love within me? You do not have to worry about what to say or what to do. Because this awareness will direct me. I'm content to be wherever it wishes. Knowing it goes there with me. I will be healed as I let it teach me to heal. So the prayer is, I'm here only to be truly helpful. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in and listen to these words. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent the pure form of soul as perfect love. I'm here to represent the pure form of soul as a perfect love within me. You don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, because this awareness will direct me. I'm content to be wherever it wishes, knowing it goes there with me. I'll be healed as I let it teach me to heal. I'll be healed as I let it teach me to heal. It's a lovely prayer to be truly helpful, which now I'll incorporate into every email so you can practice this every day. Just a short prayer. I'll be healed as I let it teach me to heal. And so it is. Feel that power, that energy flowing into you. When you're ready, just open your eyes, feel expands an expansive state. So I did a personalized executive summary. Each point, I'll just read them briefly. Summarize how correction can lead to events and circumstances that do not follow the laws of time and space. Therefore, when I correct my mind, I'm allowing time and space to be adjusted to help me identify more of my true self. I'm allowing time and space to be adjusted to help me identify more with my true self. Number two, my healing depends on my ability to distinguish clearly between what is true to distinguish what is true The healing depends on my ability to distinguish between what is true and what is false, clearly. So I must distinguish between truth and illusion, right and wrong-mindedness. So if I respond to any mistake made by anyone with any accepted desire, to heal, I confuse right-mindedness and wrong-mindedness, and I make a mistake about myself. Mistake myself. Respond to any mistake, any accepted desire to heal, confuse right-mindedness, wrong-mindedness, and I'm making a mistake of myself. Only when I perceive and respond right-mindedly from my true self can I have any real effect on anyone or anything. What has no real effect has no real existence. So there's merely an empty projection of my own mind. When I'm willing to transcend my time-space perception of reality, I'll perceive correctly, and this is healing. I pretend I've let go, but I'm still thinking and feeling wrong-mindedly. only judging the situation through my separate self and preventing healing from happening. So it has to be authentic. I must perceive correctly, and I can't just pretend and fake it. True letting go involves any correction of errors. There's no element of condemnation in it. It does not judge the outcome of the error in this way, but merely evaluates all errors untrue and therefore of no effect. When I truly let go, I appeal to pure forms, someone is perfect love to heal my mind and the minds of others involved. When I'm of one mind, my mind will be in a state of pure formless awareness, but when I'm remembering my true self, correcting my perceptions through it, I'm still in time. No difference between awakening and revelation. Time is under the direction of my true self, but eternity belongs to pure formless awareness. Yeah, time is under the direction of my true self, but eternity belongs to pure formless awareness, perfect love. So in time, I exist for and with other people. And in eternity, I'm one with pure formless awareness and perfect love eternally. So in time, seem to exist for other people, for and with other people, but ultimately we can emerge into pure formless awareness, perfect love, and be there eternally. So finally, I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent the pure formless awareness, perfect love within me. Do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because this awareness will direct me. I'm content to be wherever it wishes, knowing that it goes there with me. I'll be healed as I let it teach me to heal. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent pure formless awareness, perfect love within me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because this awareness will direct me. I'm content to be wherever it wishes, knowing it goes there with me. I will be healed as I let it teach me to heal. It's the helpfulness prayer, which is it's very powerful. And so it is. So on that note, I think that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you. Thank you to Lane for joining. It was a great session. Actually, there was only two of us. It was a great chat. I hope you enjoyed that. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever I go live, which is 6 days a week. You can also go to lifepool.com to sign up to receive some of the information I showed you, the daily quote, the lesson, and also give free meditations and breath breaks on the lesson. So go to lifepool.com to do that, and you're welcome to join us for our next masterclass happening this coming Sunday. Go to the AOLG.com to do that. All the links are below in the text box below this video, so check it out and do your thing. I hope to find you, catch you on the inside. Namaste, which means the true self in me acknowledges and honors that same true self in you. Peace.